The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
Now broadcasting from the Right to Offend Media Studios in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, art, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report Live with Sam Whitfield.
But giving offense is good. In fact, it's essential.
Well, good evening, folks, and welcome to tonight's Monday edition of the Whitfield Report. Very happy to be here. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, evidently joined by the disembodied voice, Morpheus, who, just like a professional, hopped on to join me for this impromptu broadcast.
Hey, Sammy.
How are you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. How are you, Sammy?
Not too bad. A little disappointed because a guest who I thought we were going to have today had to cancel. That's always a little, that's always a little disappointing, but things happen in life, and stuff happens, but that I suppose making lemons into lemonade, this gives me a perfect opportunity to announce something that you and Max already knew because I shared the news with you over the weekend, and I think we kind of knew that this was coming, but folks, I am very happy to announce that the Whitfield Report has officially been accepted into the Rumble Premium partner program, which will allow us to get even more promotion and help grow the show even more. So
That's cool.
very honored, to be a part of the program, especially since Rumble has been pretty much the only I shouldn't say the only platform, because we do multi-stream on Odyssey too, but I use Rumble Studio primarily for broadcasting, so like everything I do to run the show minus the pre-recorded podcast, pretty much everything gets streamed on Rumble anyway. So
Right, they've been at home for the last couple of years.
Yeah, so in a way we've already kind of been Rumble exclusive, and it was a bit of a grind for us to get to into the partner program, but we made the hours, and we got some more subscribers to the channel, so really thankful for everyone who did that. And I want to just announce that we're in the program, and I kind of want to announce what we some of the thoughts that I just kind of have, nothing concrete yet, but kind of plans that I have for the channel and the future of the show going forward. But first off,
We're selling out, folks.
Well, we're not so much selling out, as I like to say. We're some people might think we're selling out, but I prefer to think of it as we're buying in. Right?
Right. But that's why I said it.
Yeah, no. I can appreciate that. So, I guess, any initial thoughts before I go into the whole, spiel more?
It makes me feel like I need to get the Bits and Bones channel into the fucking program too, because you got Max, you got.
Yeah. And, we've got,
Got the main show, and now just Bits and Bones is being a.
yeah. So, anyway, well, I think, so here's the deal. We have to stream 30 hours a month. Basically anyone in the program, you have to stream 30 hours to get into the program, but then you have to stream 30 hours to basically stay in the creator program. And that's that's a lot more work than people might think. So, here's the deal. I've already gotten some questions about this from some fans who knew that this was coming. So let me just address the elephant in the room. The Monday and Wednesday shows are still going to remain completely free for everyone to listen to. I'm still going to be posting those on Spotify, on Odyssey, basically all the free platforms I have, and those will continue to be free. So I'm not planning on changing any of that. I'm not going to paywall any old shows that we have, none of that stuff that other creators do. What I will be doing though is I'll be hosting a variety of I guess premium content shows that will exclusively be to Rumble. One of the ideas that I've had, and one thing we've talked about is doing like a Friday call-in show, where I just drop the link in the chat and then everyone can join. Now people have asked me to do that before, and I've been hesitant to do that only because in public there's really no way to really like I guess call screen for that. And so not and so by having it be behind the paywall bit, I know it's not exactly the same thing as call screening, but it gives us a little bit of a buffer there. Of course, I know that the trolls, and whatnot, if they really want to, can, pay to get premium too. But at that point, you're paying and you're giving us part of your money. So,
At that point, it's the price of admission.
yeah. At that point, it's the price. At that point, it's the price of admission. So, if you guys want to call in on Fridays and fuck around with us, you guys will pay for the
pay us from now on, Craig.
And well, I mean, Craig, has a bit of an exemption, and it's not just because it's not because he's Jewish.
Because he's a friend of the show, but I had to break his chops.
Yeah, because it's because he's a friend of the show, and it's because he's a doctor. And contrary to popular beliefs, like at least for me, doctors love to break my balls. At least some of them do.
Doctors have been breaking my balls for 41 years and yours for 30.
Well, that might not be the best practice medically, but I digress. But anyway,
it had to be said.
It had to be said. And so a call-in show is one idea I've had, for a while now, and this might be a good way to do it. Another thing I've wanted to do for a while is live reaction shows for like old like B movies and whatnot. And a lot of those are on YouTube, and they won't necessarily get like copyright violations or anything like that. I mean, if YouTubers can get away with doing it, we can too. That might be fun to do, like a mystery science theater. That's just one idea. Another one I've had is to do like a more in-depth writers workshop type of thing. I've talked with Eric Bishop and a few other people about actually doing like more of an in-depth show where we all like discuss our writing process together for those people who really want to kind of get into the minutia and the weeds with us.
That'd be cool.
It might not be fun for the average listener, but there are a few of us who we do.
Should this fuck be fun for us nerds?
We do brainstorm, and it would honestly be more like something where we all kind of like hop in, like, I mean, obviously it would be on Rumble, but the way we would do it is it would be more like watching like a Zoom call or like a conference call. So, maybe not necessarily entertaining as far as commentary, but for like Mort said, for the nerds, that would be fun. And then obviously as far as like the free content goes, I've still got to get 30 hours in, so I'll probably be doing lots of like best of shows and whatnot, some of which are audio only, but I'll be I'll be kind of going through some of the I guess stuff of the Whitfield report that is actually on the Wayback Machine, and restreaming that like for a couple hours a week. And I'm not gonna post the best of shows to Spotify or anything like that, because that's already on the podcast feeds. So why fill the feed up with redundancies? But it's those are just like a few of the ideas that we've had. And if I can get if either I can get like if I can either get like kind of like a decent rig for streaming games by Rumble Studios, or if Rumble will finally allow for or I should say if Sony will allow for the PlayStation to stream to Rumble like they should, Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo, then I will stream me poorly playing Kingdom Come, and Mort can laugh at me swearing all the time.
That'd be fucking hilarious.
So yeah, well, you can't tell me that you haven't died a million times too, sir.
I played the fifth, sir.
Well, knowing you, you're just as guilty as me in that you like to visit all the houses.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's probably more like
I didn't visit the elven bathhouses in Witcher 3. I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure. I'm sure.
I totally don't have a thing for elven ladies.
Well, maybe we could get like some Alvin cosplayer to, come on the show and have, more interview them, for one of the episodes.
Hashtag premium content, people.
Uh-huh. And yeah, Max, this is a live Monday show, so I sent you the link if you want to jump in, or rather it's it's group chat. I should say one of the things that is cool about Rumble Premium too is like we'll be doing premium content obviously, but the good thing about Rumble Premium is if you subscribe, you get access to premium content from all across the site. So if you subscribe to
Lies, Craig. Lies.
yeah, total lies. I'm not trying to exclude you. I dropped the link. So if either of you two want to join in, feel free. Honestly, I think that I honestly think, Craig, if you really want my opinion, I think that you and Evan and Steve should start streaming on Rumble because you guys will make partner easily. But I know it's Evan's show and he has a setup. I do know too that they're supposedly be like working on a feature where you can use OBS and like connect it to Studio somehow, and yeah. Yeah. Well, Max, you is in the creative program, and so am I. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, Rumble is going to be hopefully they've been working on like an integration to like I guess hotwire Rumble Studio to work with like OBS or any other streaming software, which I understand. Yeah. Yeah. The problem is Rumble sells premium wrong. It's not per creator. Well, I mean, they already have Rumble owns locals, which I guess is like the per subscriber paywall. Which I actually have. I have a locals account for the Whitfield report. I've never and it's activated. I've never posted anything there, and I don't really promote it. But yeah, the good thing is that I think the creative program, because it allows people to subscribe to the entire site. Like I said, you get more than just my premium stuff. You also get Right to Offend Media's premium stuff, which is pretty good. And yeah, Max says I had Rumble Premium before just because ads suck. LOL. Yeah, they do. Yeah. And yeah, the 5 hours of premium content I don't think is that bad, honestly. I mean, we do that, and we can easily do 5 hours in one show. If we make that a thing. Like, it's not a problem at all. my thing, and like I said, this is the reason why I'm gonna be restreaming, like, existing content as the guest. The, the 30 hours is that's probably going to be the harder thing. But we did it before, so now we just gotta grind. And I think Bits and Bones would be would be great to get in the premium program too, but it is a grind, sir. So uh on the other hand, I mean, I guess you could do like coffee with Morpheus in the mornings or something if you wanted to.
For me, it'd probably have to be a late night night owl vampire type of thing.
Yeah, you and I are like night owl vampires. So, um, yeah. Okay, let's see. A coffee show is my bit saying, well, Mort's always going on about like how much coffee he drinks, though. So, I mean, I like coffee too, but
French press hour with Mort.
yeah, yeah. So Max is a percolator guy. Um, and Mort is a French press guy. Um, and I'm like just either a regular standard coffee maker guy or on occasion an instant coffee guy.
Because I was given a French press during COVID for necessity reasons, and I swear by the fucking thing now.
I I had a French press and I loved it. The only thing is they can be hard to clean out at first.
Thankfully, I've got a nice metal one, so it's pretty nice.
Yeah. So
Stainless steel
let's
French
see.
press. Let's go.
Uh Craig says you should roast your coffee like an American with a bench. Well, I mean, Craig, you're an engineer, so you can probably you and Steve can probably just like engineer coffee makers in your spare time. So, um,
The first French press that I had was kind of like just a science beaker.
yeah, yeah, that was what I had until my stepdad accidentally broke it, and I haven't gotten one since.
Yeah, my
So,
ass was cleaning it. I fucking lightly bumped it against the fucking faucet, and it just spidered down the side.
yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, I maybe need to get another. I maybe need to get like a stainless steel one too. So, um, I mean, and like I said, I'm not going to like paywall the guest podcast at least for Monday. However, if guests wanted like do a paywall show, I'm not going to object to them you know doing that too. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of the announcement. Just regarding Rumble Premium. Uh, very excited for the future of the show. Uh, the future is looking bright. as someone in pop culture said once. Um, Other than that, everyone's been buying Night of the Vigilantes, so thanks for the book sales as well. That's been awesome. And yeah.
That's
Uh
cool.
I guess the other thing, since people have brought it up, is yes, this isn't like really worthy, I guess, as like far as political news. But I believe we covered this a few weeks ago, but uh Amazon Kindle is now like, I guess, putting DRM restrictions on all Kindle ebooks. And I know that some people don't like that. Um, but I will say that I'm actually in support of it because as an indie author, I've always put DRM on my books anyway, because through Amazon, because otherwise, a lot of indie authors will get their books, pirated and put on free websites, and I think that's kind of crappy. So you know, I think yes, I agree with Craig. Get hard copy. Um, but if you like, if you like digital, don't be pirating, indie authors' books.
But you either get a hard copy or don't be a dick and don't fucking pirate.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, try before buy still comes with the buy part, just not leeching. And yeah, I mean, yeah, so just wanted to kind of, like I said, not a huge news item, but people are like, oh my god, oh my god, Amazon's DRMing their Kindle ebooks. And I know some people think it sucks, but for once I actually am in agreement with it. If people didn't abuse ebooks so much, you know, there wouldn't be reason to do it. Now on the other hand, I think I think DRMing just in general is kind of, it's not the best solution for everything the way some other companies do it. But that's a whole other enchilada. Um, anyway, though, that's kind of all I have as far as like general announcements and whatnot. More, do you have any topics in mind or any crazy random more thoughts today?
Not really. That there is rumblings involving bits and bones, but I really can't say too much other than that. We still got to talk to you, but just Sammy.
Uh oh, okay. I got it. We're good. We're gonna form a
Crippletron, yes.
Crippletron. So also,
We'll use Max as the base since he's nice and sturdy.
yeah, also, I challenge Mort and I are gonna challenge Ricky Berwick to a tag team match at Cripplemania. So
And Ricky Berwick would normally have 33 and a third percent chance of winning, but Sam's not even going to try. So I've got 66 and two-thirds chance of winning.
yeah. So also, the internet wrestling community, I guess, some wrestling account, I guess, was like got mad at Max's Vince McMahon bit. But hey, thanks for the views, I guess.
Thanks for the interaction, dummy.
So, but anyway, well, I got nothing more. So unless the Giant wants to hop on, or Kreggles, or anyone, I think I'll call this an evening. Well, Joe, we're going premium now, or as Kid Rock says, we're going platinum, which we will do that soon too. I'm sure. Well, as platinum as streamers can. So, also be sure to check out last night's Bits and Bones, where
Fun
we
as always.
where we discussed we discussed a lot. I went on a rant about like Kingdom Come, and well, it seems like every week we've been talking like how sucky Ubisoft has been.
Right? Well, Ubisoft does
So
Ubisoft bullshit things. They need to stop.
yeah, and I did confirm this, but apparently, yeah, Dan Houser of Rockstar still is melting down over Trump winning the election. So maybe, I mean, at this point, if you really want a hot take, I don't really care that much about GTA 6 as much as some other people do. So, I'll still play GTA Vice City any day. So, and yeah. So, other than that, I'm seeing if there's any interesting news on Twitter that's popping up. Apparently people are mad that, I guess, Trump wore a navy blue suit to the Pope's funeral.
The problem is he wasn't the only one with the blue suit.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yes, I get that. I guess that black. I get that black is the is the traditional like color of mourning. But I believe Obama like used to wear tan suits all the time, if I'm not mistaken, and I actually didn't have a problem with that. Believe it or not. I can say a lot of things about Obama's presidency, but the fact that he didn't always wear a tie, never had a problem with that actually. So,
Apparently, we're going to have a doctor joining us soon.
I saw that. So, I will. I thought I added you to the Whitfield report group, Craig, but I will. Oh, never mind. You found the link. Never mind. Evening, Doc. What's up?
How's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
Not too bad.
Sweet. I get to do triple today.
Did I miss an episode of the Pink Untitled podcast last night, or have you guys?
No, we're waiting until like Wednesday. So I'm guessing you listened to a previous episode and you got to hear about how I intelligently used my bedside table as an alarm clock.
Yeah,
For
that's
the-
a wake up. That talk got a wake
It
up
works.
call.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the problem, of course, is the reset time on that. So so I got surgery on my hand Friday.
Uh-oh.
Oh wait, so
unfuck my
you're
hand.
you're also crippled, at least temporarily.
Oh, yep.
So what you're saying is you're now a crippled you.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been that before.
Yeah, but having hand surgery is
Yeah, I fucked up my my fifth metacarpal pretty damn hard, so we had to undo that. So post ops tomorrow. I think we're gonna try and do a stream Wednesday night for an episode.
I don't know if you if you have to type stuff a lot for. Well, I imagine you do.
Yes.
Like reports. If you haven't already, I'm sure you have. But I mean, dictation is basically built into computer.
Yeah. No, I tried.
So.
It's funny. So like I used to have all kinds of fun, just getting myself sat down to write reports and stuff. So I've tried the whole Dragon software, all that other nonsense before.
I used to use Dragon when I was
it's ages ago.
Yeah, I used to use Dragon ages ago, and it was a pain because when I first started using it, my I hadn't quite hit puberty yet, so it was always,
I see where that's going.
it was always a pain because I would always have to recalibrate it like literally every 2 weeks because my voice would change and it would be it was a pain. I don't think people appreciate, like, I know that dictation on your phone isn't perfect, but it's light years ahead of what
it used to be so trash.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I would really have to speak in the most monotone voice, and now it's just the opposite. Now if you don't inflect somewhat, it won't pick up.
Yeah.
Anything.
No, it's worse for if you have to do anything involving domain specific literature. You have there's the vocabulary changes and the software is not designed for that. So
yeah, I know that I know that they used to have dictation software like specifically for the law and medical fields.
Medical would probably be slightly better, but I mean it's the same kind of shit. You just different. Think of it like this: the lookup table that it has to work against. The more syllables or phonemes really that you add to a word, the longer depth of search it has to do, and it's not linear. It's not like you have 6 syllables instead of 3. It has 6 times the base amount of whatever to look through. It's kind of ridiculous because it has to do all the different combinations inside. Because you can have rejection of certain syllables within a word, and like as like a pause syllable, like a or an So it has to go through those, and the search space just balloons and it goes to crap as far as performance. So they typically don't tune things to match a wide enough vocabulary to be of much use for me, which is fine. I'll get back to typing as I need to. It's This isn't permanent, thankfully. I was
Yeah.
already fucked up enough trying to use my hand before I got the surgery done on it. That was fun. It had like full fucking crossover on the knuckles. Like if I tried to make a fist, my pinky tried to reach my forefinger. That was just not good.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they put a
That,
plate in there. We'll see what
yeah. That
happens.
that must have that must hurt. Well, if I
Well,
remember
like I said, woke my ass up.
Yeah, well, if I remember correctly, you said that you used to play lacrosse in college too, right?
Yeah, high school and college.
Yeah, so I imagine well you were probably smarter than a few of my friends who played lacrosse, but a few of them got like seriously injured playing
Uh huh.
lacrosse.
So
So
imagine playing football with pads that are made out of cardboard instead of like thick foam, and then you get to
yeah.
beat the ever loving fuck out of each other with titanium sticks as hard as you want.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I've seen
That's
I've
I played defense, so I was the big guy who like crushed people on the other end of the field.
yeah, yeah, no, I've seen rugby matches. So
Yeah,
and
rugby is like
lacrosse
lacrosse.
matches.
Rugby is a different level. Rugby is like, okay, let's go ahead and strip out all of the protection like they do with lacrosse, and then we'll get rid of the sticks and just let them rip at each other. Don't even bother having a fucking goal. Just beat the shit out of each other. Go.
Yeah, yeah, I remember a few years ago some Brit was talking about how violent the NFL is and someone
Oh, it's so padded.
yeah
It's
and
cushy. I started playing high school football after. It's funny. I broke my foot my last season playing lacrosse in high school, and so I come out in spring. Like, you know what? Fuck it. We're just bringing football back for the first time in like 15 years to our school. I'll try playing. And I go out there on a fucking broken foot, and I'm playing with, we put all the pads on and shit. Like, what the hell is all this extra stuff? And I couldn't hack it because of the foot. It's like, the guy grabbed my fucking grill after I did some ball drill, and I guess I got up just a hair slower than he wanted. Fucking grabbed my grill and my helmet and started shouting at me and threw my head to the side. It's like, I'm fucking done with this shit.
ooh yeah
It's like, I'll go play a sport that I enjoy in college, and this guy can go and suck a dick.
yeah
Funniest thing,
that
his name's Coach Jericho. It's like, all right, buddy.
oh yeah
Guys, like I've never seen this guy until he shows up that year at our school. Like the PE teacher was one of the coaches, and like he and I were really cool. It's like if he did that shit, I'm not playing. You guys have a great season. I'll be on the sidelines. I'll cheer for my school, but that guy can go suck a dick.
yeah the yeah it do be like that
It's
um
crazy how people can just like demotivate. Like I'm not saying that would have been critical, but like we already had a shallow enough field when it came to playing lacrosse. Like we're playing come to play football. We're not going to have like 3 or 4 strings deep, and you're throwing players away who are from a sister sport to it. That's just a silly thing to do. People are weird like
yeah.
that.
Well, I remember there used to be that show, and I mean it was a movie too, but
Hmm.
Friday Night Lights about
Yeah.
high school football in Texas. And
Hmm.
at first I thought a lot of that was fictional, but then I met someone in college who who was originally from Texas, and he said, "Oh no, they treat high school football like a fucking religion
Yeah.
there in and of
It's kind of
itself."
weird.
In and of itself. So
I'll say this: the high school lacrosse was a lot of fun, and we had like no depth on our team. So it was like if you're playing, you're basically playing on the field. You're not just on the sideline. And so like we had some fucking athletes. I got to college, and that was a whole different level of intensity.
yeah.
But but the guy who was coach for us when I joined at UF, um, he was from the last team, which like from like a few years back that had gone to nationals. And it's set up kind of like the basketball where you have like a Sweet 16, so we have a nationals with 16. teams.
Yeah.
And we got the 15 seed all three times in a row the 3 years I played at UF. I got showed up on the team. The coach came up, and we took it nationals 3 times in a row. And then I just like had to choose to like get my degrees instead of fucking play a sport. It's like I'm not, and keep in mind this is club sport at UF. It may as well be D3, but like it's club sport. And I asked before, like, if they're going to pay for us to go in, should we ever do divisional? They said, well, we'd be paying to do D1. I said, well, we're not D1. We have football here. I said, yeah, that's right. Every time the football team at UF gets a fucking sweat rag, women's get a new sport. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, they spend so much money on football there. It's outrageous. But, I mean, we did get to use their gym facilities until one of our illustrious members got our asses kicked out. Fucking like slapping weights.
Yeah, well,
I respect that shit.
my alumni USF actually made the news a few years ago because I believe it was USF that had a lot of the trans
oh, okay.
stuff in women's sports.
They
And
made the news in the smart way, in the
yeah,
best way possible.
So for once I wasn't the most controversial guy that went there. So
oh man, that's gotta like. So here's the funny thing is, and this would actually be a true like schism on it. So one of the things you didn't do as a guy playing lacrosse is fuck with the women's team in college level, because like you don't like talk shit to them. One, they're better at talking shit than you are.
oh yeah,
Because they are evil. They're fucking evil people. But two, they don't have any pocket in their stick, so they don't have any way to like keep the ball in the stick, like just with centrifugal force, as like you kind of expect. Their nets are flat, so their ball handling skills, and yes, there's lots of fun innuendo that goes into that. Their ball handling skills are way better than yours will ever be. So like their stick skills are way better than yours. So if you ever like talk shit about them, they'll base, and especially if you're on defense like me. So I have the 6 foot pole, they have the 3 foot one. They can walk in, and they will smoke you and score every fucking time because you can't get the ball out of their net. If you let them ever use a men's stick, it's impossible to get the ball away from them. They're just that much better. And again, like the idea is they don't have contact in their sports. They're not supposed to. So they're supposed to just like knock the ball out of the stick, and so they're supposed to be easier to knock the ball out of their stick. But they just have to be that much better than you at playing, with the ball skills.
Yeah, that is true. But even so, I mean, those are women that I would not necessarily want to fuck with either.
Well, yeah, they also do actually have contact. I mean, they're not supposed to, but they do.
Oh no.
Now, most of them were really cool with us. This is really funny though, because like they had this insane reputation. Like they're just a bunch of angry harpies who can destroy you on the field and just emasculate you in front of everyone else. It's like, well, I'll leave that alone. You guys have fun with that. We'll just hang out at parties, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's it's not a smart move necessarily to mess with them. So
yeah.
Also, I think maybe you covered this, but I did see that Dylan Manvani is thinking about leaving the
Dylan
country.
Manvani, he's leaving the country.
Bye-bye.
Where's he going? What planet is he going to arrive on? How's the weather there?
You gonna go to Canada or Europe?
Oh, speaking of Canada, they're having an election, right?
Correct.
Yeah, Yeah,
Isn't that great? Where it's like it's such a big news item for the rest of the world that we don't even know if it's happening.
well,
Canada is just that important.
I mean,
Is Canada really a country though?
It's the 51st state. It always has been.
yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like I mean, people get mad at me when I say this about California too, but
Well, they're
it
not even a
doesn't.
state.
It doesn't really. It doesn't really It doesn't really matter because like Canada is so far left, and so is
Yeah,
California. Well, at least the major population centers, I should say, are all so far left that
yeah.
it doesn't really matter. Like as much as I like the you know the Polly what's his face, the Canadian
Pierre
guy who was,
Polyev.
yeah, as much as I like some of the stuff that that guy said,
Uh huh.
He's
it didn't
still a
make
lefty.
yeah, well, he's still a lefty, and he he didn't really have a chance of getting in anyway.
Well, I mean, it's
So
that's kind of like the whole libertarians for the most part, but like libertarians, they're not always looking for like full market share. They're trying to get to a certain percentage to show that they exist. Um,
Do they exist though?
well, that's kind of the question that's supposed to be answered tonight.
well, yeah, well the thing with the libertarians is they're so split that they can't come together on any
Well,
consensus.
yeah, because if they say, "Hey, we have a pretty moderate person who's doing a great job," and then all you look over, blink, and suddenly they've got a leader who's fucking kneeling for BLM. So like, I don't really take much stock in what they have to say on a lot of things. I mean, they'll come around and they'll have good points, but the as far as the national politics goes, a lot of times it kind of swerves off to one side or the other and just kind of leaves the whole political map.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, the libertarians kind of lost me when, to be clear, they didn't really do this as a party, but there are there are way too many people in the libertarians who do the whataboutism about age of consent laws, and I'm kind of like,
Yeah, I don't need to hear about that kind of shit, right? It's like, you
yeah,
guys really gotta go down that road. I mean, I'll toss them this bone,
That's really your issue, fuckers. Really?
right? I'll toss them this bone. There are states where there are not bestiality laws. Do you know why those states do not have laws against fucking an animal? Because they don't have enough people that fuck animals. So I could see why there might be some states that could have, potentially, if there were large enough, there are several more planet Earths, um, or that we didn't have enough pedophiles to go around, there might be some states that didn't have age of consent laws. But seeing as we live in a place where we have enough of these pieces of shit around the country, perhaps we could just consider that 18 really is a reasonable cutoff and leave it at that.
I don't even mind having the debate about legalizing legalizing legal prostitution, at least having the debate about it. But
Or
you know, I'm kind of like, yeah, if you're going to go down the age thing, then
yeah, like,
that's
come
kind
on,
of a
guys.
non-starter.
Yeah, the oh, she is an old soul. You know what? Well, this is a shallow grave. Hop in.
Yeah.
How about you take some of this penicillin, please?
That's a wonderful story. Keep digging.
So yeah. Well, also though, like also though they elected, they the guy who's their head now is also the one who is like who also like unironically kneeled for the vaccine,
Hmm.
uh you know jabby jab stuff. So it's
Right.
like, yeah, it's like,
Look,
yeah,
say what
no,
you will about that stuff, but I think it's really easy to have a very straightforward and principled position that doesn't rely on whether or not whatever your beliefs are about the vaccines. individuals need to be able to choose what goes into their body, period. And
Yeah,
moreover, requirements that you put this stuff into people's body, we know that there's going to be a rate at which people are going to be harmed by these things, no matter what. There are people who have bad reactions to vaccines all the time. It sucks, but it's just true. That's one of the reasons why they're supposed to be elective, because if you have a reaction to it, you shouldn't be putting that shit in your body again. So we don't require it on people like that. You can have an exemption for that reason specifically.
I'm
And
I'm
so
one
like,
of those
it's
people
on
that
that basis alone.
reaction.
Like this, on that basis alone, if you have a requirement for a vaccine, if you make it mandatory, you are going to harm people. We
yeah,
know that. That's why we do not do that.
yeah, and like Moore said, he had an exemption. Even though it's not mandated even though it's not mandated in
Right.
Florida, I still got a signed exemption because
Yeah.
U.S.
It's
I have enough medical issues. I don't need something more.
Yeah,
the other side of it is, there's people who are going to get vaccinated who are not going to be protected, and those are the people who are like kind of those are people who are just kind of totally screwed. That believe they've been protected and they haven't been, and there's people who don't get vaccinated that would be protected by herd immunity. So there are, you can make polarizing arguments in whichever direction, but again, the fundamental freedom of it is that you get to put what's in your body, what you choose, not what you're told. And that's because we know that if you're just told to put shit in your body on a population scale, you will be causing harm. And
yeah,
it's not going to be a lesser harm thing. It's like we know that will harm people. And moreover, if you look back at the last round of things with COVID, the first vaccine had an 80% uptake rate. We had an 80% rate of vaccination in this country. We can't get half people to take flu vaccine. Like, just
yeah,
imagine how, as far as like vaccination campaigns go, that was the most successful one in the history of the country, history of the world. So, people cry about the way that the vaccines were handled last time, with COVID, and they're crying about it from the side of trying to get everyone vaccinated. I really do have to tell them to eat a dick, because again, most successful campaign in the history of the country. So, sadly, some of the wrong lessons are going to be learned from that, because it varied across different states. If you find that you can give people more of a choice, they're more willing to take it up. If you tell people they have to take it in order to do everything else in their life and be happy again, then they're not going to be so happy about taking the vaccine. And they're just going to, not only they're going to hate you for it, but if they did take it, they're probably not going to take a booster. If, say a booster was necessary, why the fuck would they trust you? I mean, people spent so much capital, like so much intellectual capital, so much like faith in the system. They wasted it. Anyhow,
yeah. Well,
but
I
Canadian
mean,
politics.
I don't know if
Sorry.
I don't. No, I don't know. Well, you actually brought up something that that I think is actually a good point. I don't know if it was I don't know if it was you or Steve or both of you. I think it was last week. You know, I think both of you, and I'm kind of, I've said this before. I definitely think Fauci should go to jail.
Yeah, he needs to
Um,
get his ass in prison. He caused
yeah,
way more harm than anyone. He caused more harm than the Wuhan Institute of Virology in this country. That's my opinion on him, which is
yeah.
pretty
Well,
fucking significant.
yeah. Well, he's honestly, he's one of the reasons why I was so why I actually didn't get vaccinated because
Hmm.
there at one point I actually was considering getting vaccinated, and then it was kind of like when he started to be like, you have to get the vaccine, and when he
Yeah,
when he when he started fear mongering.
Mister, I am the science.
Yep, I am the science.
That
Yeah,
motherfucker.
yeah, when they start, trying to force, I'm actually gonna be like, wait a minute, why are you guys forcing this?
Yeah.
That's when I become a cynic.
See,
So
that's the thing that I most kind of fear coming out of that I mean, it's not that it's a bad thing to reactionarily say go fuck yourself, but to do so potentially to the point where you cut off your nose to spite your face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, suppose the vaccine really was contrive the scenario as you need to. Say the vaccine really was necessary, and without it, everyone, say people would die, and that we absolutely needed to hit her immunity. It was sterilizing immunity that was conferred, and like it had like a 50% lethality, mortality rate. Having some asshole like him come out and tell people you have to get vaccinated, and then having people reactionarily say, well, now I'm just not going to do it on principle because fuck you. And what the hell do you have to gain out of this? What's going on here?
And
Again,
magically,
real questions.
my body, my choice contingent went
Oh
out the
yeah,
window.
all that shit.
Oh yeah.
That was fucking amazing.
Yeah, I actually ended a relationship with someone over that because she was doing the my body my choice over over abortion, and I'm pro life, but like I never really pushed her on it.
Right.
But then when it came to that, I was like, okay, so hold on. So,
Oh, she
you're
came
my
after you over the vaccine?
yeah, so you're
Oh.
my yeah. And she used the well, well, you're disabled, Sam, so you're significantly more at risk, and I'm like,
What?
and
Yeah,
I'm
no.
like,
Okay, let me put that in context for you because I think I can give you a better context here. Your disability does not concern your immune system in that way. I have
no,
an actual immunodeficiency, and I wasn't as at risk as that would imply. Like, that's just, and this is where, like, when we had all these discussions prior, if you remember us talking about these things, I said, talk to your doctor; they know you best, yada yada. Like, and this is where I mentioned with Steve that our calculations as far as personal risk were radically different, and it's because they really were. And like someone throwing that shit in your face is just kind of asinine, especially when they're wildly incorrect.
yeah,
Unless you've got something else that you've got, and I'm not saying you need to tell anyone, but like if it's just what you've mentioned publicly so far, like that's not the same. It's not like a vaccine is not going to be the thing that makes the difference there.
yeah.
As far as I know.
No, I mean, yeah, no, and it's and like and I mean, like cerebral palsy is pretty varied. Like I do know that there
Yeah.
are people who have additional complications that do
Right.
affect their respiratory, but I'm not one of them, and
So
so
wrong.
it's it's more the thing that people see. And I mean, I know more gets this too, but it's like
Yeah,
they see.
even my primary diagnosis of spina bifida, it wouldn't be affected.
Right, but people see the wheelchair. People see
Oh, before they
person
see
A
you.
in
They
wheelchair.
see the wheelchair and they think we're sick and infirm motherfuckers.
Yeah, that we're
Well, I
that
know
we're
you're both sick, but I don't know about infirm.
yeah we're both sick.
We're sick, but in the acceptable way.
We're both sickos, but
Well, let's rein it back in here. Neither of you are arguing for a change in age of consent.
Facts.
yeah, that's true. I even
Again, we are sickos within the appropriate bounds.
I
Yeah.
I honestly said to someone else who was saying who said I should get the vax. I said, buddy, I said, you vape all the time, and
Oh yeah.
God bless
So dumb.
you. That's your choice, but you know, you know, it sucks that you're completely able-bodied and yet you have like a weaker lung capacity than I do. I'm like, if anything, you're more vulnerable, to COVID than I am. So that and all the obese, people running around. But we're not allowed to talk about that.
Yeah, Sam Max and I have talked about this in the past. As far as I know, Sam and I do some pretty extensive physical therapy, if not daily, at least like every other day type of shit.
Yeah, I mean, even for us, just doing like, at least for me, just doing,
Doing just
daily.
our daily care is enough exercise for most people.
Yeah.
Got a couple of damn Paralympians here.
Well,
Again, gonna humble brag here, there, Craig, but I do like table push-ups on the daily.
Uh-huh.
yeah. I also while we're on the rant, differently able is such a
It's
fucking
so
nothing.
gay. It's fucking gay. That's what it is. It's fucking
Yeah.
gay. That's my response to that, because the same exact crowd of people who would get upset by the word gay stressed using that kind of shit.
Facts.
Fuck those faggots. It's the same shit. I got ADD, and it's like, you know what? That's not my fucking defining personality trait. It doesn't need to be theirs either. If it is your personality, if your disability is your entire personality, I genuinely feel bad for you as a person, because that means you've left so much more on the table and you haven't chosen to go after it.
The ADD thing really annoys me, not because I have it, but because people I know who are just lazy say that
Oh,
they
it
have
got way
ADD.
overdiagnosed, by the way, in the 90s, which is just fucking funny. There's basically a bunch of soccer moms who doctors were trying to get out of the fucking room. So, stop wasting time with all this shit. And they basically just gave the diagnosis of their kids. Way overprescribed Ritalin, way overdiagnosed ADD, especially ADHD.
Yeah.
And that like we're seeing the same thing already. Like autism, I'm not so they broaden the definition and they have better diagnostics for detection now. But then there's also a group of people that are basically insisting that their kid has autism, and like there's an overdiagnosis issue with that going on as well. It's not
Yeah.
the whole RFK thing is going to hilariously backfire as far as that crowd goes, because it's a real issue and it has nothing to do with fucking vaccines. Sorry, Andrew Wakefield went to jail for a reason. But like, yeah, there is a bit of an overdiagnosis issue, and it happens. There's always a fad that goes on. The whole trans thing, we already saw that. The fact that a whole lot of trans kids, if you call them that, are the social contagion issue landed on people who are particularly susceptible to it, namely autistic kids, is really tragic. That's something. I saw something this morning where I guess NHS over in England is now testing all the kids who are have been claimed as trans to see if they're autistic or if they have ADD, or if they're part of I guess what they call a neurosusceptible subpopulation. And someone said they weren't doing this shit already. It's like, no, they fucking weren't. They didn't want to. That would have ruined the entire argument they had at the time, that they're just born that way and they're truly in the wrong body and there's no comorbidity that explains it as a social contagion.
Yeah.
That whole thing is it's not just an issue where, like, if you have a trans kid, what that really means is you have like a truly fucked up parent, like a narcissist or a Munchausen by proxy. Like, there could be other stuff going on. It's just at the same time, that population of parents has always existed. The ones who just want their kid to have an excuse for being weird, or being, they want to have their kid have an excuse to be special in whatever way that they can't be. And that's terrible, because that really fucks the kid's life up. But you see that with overdiagnosis as a fad. There was ADD in the 90s. You had autism kind of already. Then you have the whole trans thing. And you're going to see autism happen again with the whole counterculture pushback on it this time around. There's going to be some other weird thing that's going to come up in the next decade. It has cycles to it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And it's just sad that the kids get screwed over in the meantime, and more importantly, that you then have the stigma that gets landed on the people who are truly affected by it, and that sucks, you know. And I'm not going to go woe is me on that, but at the same time, like, it's kind of fucking annoying. But then again, it would be more annoying if my entire personality was based on a diagnosis instead of just like living a fucking life. So there is that side of it. You got to get to the point where you move on. That's kind of something that kids should be taught as they're going through this shit too.
When I was a kid, when I was just starting like kindergarten, I guess the school psychiatrist at the time tried to diagnose me with ADHD and put me on Ritalin without ever having actually like formally diagnosed me.
Without a diagnosis?
Without actually having like observed me or anything.
Oh, okay.
And so my mom was in what they call an IEP meeting, which is you know, it's basically like a meeting to assess how to help your, you know, child with, you know, disability needs or something like that. And so I guess the school psychiatrist brought that up, and my mom asked, so what, you know, if this is news, like what, you know, evidence do you have? And they said, well, you know, and at this point, I guess I was still in pre-K, and he said, well, you know, your son doesn't really focus that well, you know, in it, like during the math part of class. And she's like, okay. Okay, is there anything else? Well, he's hyperactive.
Not everybody likes numbers.
Well, he's hyperactive. And she goes, so this is you know, so this is your you know, this is your diagnosis, quote unquote, for ADHD. And then the psychiatrist goes, well, we would need to do further testing, but yes. And so my mom stands up and basically says, if I hear another word that you guys want to put my son on Ritalin, I will sue the school district.
Yeah.
Good for her.
And so they never put me on Ritalin or anything like that. You. And they actually got rid of
the testing's important. It's really fucking important. And when they dilute the diagnostic imperative and importance of the actual, you know, diagnostic criteria, when they dilute it out just by saying, oh, that's like a formality, we want to get your kid on drugs, that's the time to tell them to fuck off.
Yeah, and that
I can tell you there's a very specific criteria for impulsivity, for intelligence factors, all kinds of other stuff going on there, like that you can test for and that you should test for if you have that concern. But if your main concern is the kid is a boy who's slightly hyperactive at pre-K level during a relatively boring part of class as far as pre-K is concerned, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, come the fuck on. I mean, you know, does the math class occur right after running around outside or right before running around outside? Like, that all matters. And they really shouldn't just force drugs on kids like that. That's actually one of the things that really pissed me off when I found out about that later. I was glad that the whole diagnosis thing I went through, like, part of it was my, you know, best friend I've known since I was like less than 1 year old. His mom, child psychologist, friends with my mom, and it's like this is stuff we kind of knew to look out for way earlier. And like they gave the questionnaire to the teacher, and then I went and I got properly diagnosed, and it's like I have, you know, the fucking numbers to show it, which is different than just like having a mom insist until the doctor relents. Like if I had not had, you know, if my numbers hadn't said, hey, this person clearly has ADD, I wouldn't have it. Like it's just that simple.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say this, but there are lots of particularly moms out there who, you know,
some kids are just not high performers, and that is okay. And you have to be accepting of that because otherwise you cripple what they could be because they aren't good enough for what you expect them to be. Even
Well,
if they
there
can exceed your expectations, had you only nurtured that spark in them. And that is a tragedy.
well, there were also moms, at least when I was growing up. Not all of them, but there were definitely enough of them who the moms were also on antidepressants and stuff themselves, and
Yeah,
for whatever reason they weren't, they didn't deal with, being moms
reality.
or parents all that well, so
Yeah,
they drugged their kids because they couldn't deal with,
right. Yeah, they
being
can't deal with the kids running around screaming because they're kids, so they decide to drug them until they sit there quietly. That was
yeah.
actually one of the things that kind of drove my parents up the wall about it was that I was somewhat so I have predominantly an attentive type, um, so I wasn't like just running around hollering, but at the same time like I did quiet down a bit, and that kind of spooked my parents a little bit. Like they were wondering like, why isn't he acting like a little boy ought to be acting? And the thing is, I was already going to be acting weird no matter what, so that part, good luck on them. But same deal there. It's kind of the one that was actually truly atrocious, and I'm glad it was such a small percentage of parents um, relative to the scare that they caused was the parents who would get their kids diagnosed so they could take their kids' meds. Those people are fucking monsters.
Oh yeah.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, and like I said, I'm so glad that it was like a blown way out of proportion. Like there wasn't actually that many parents doing it, but like that existed. That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, well, there was also this wasn't necessarily a thing with parents, but there were also like I remember a few years ago I read that there was a story one of the anesthesiologists at the children's hospital actually
Uh,
got arrested they were because the anesthesiologist was actually like taking the supply
oh,
for
oh
themselves,
man.
and
Oh,
unfortunately I'm pretty sure that happened to me
holy
as
shit.
a kid because I had to go in for a surgery for something when I was about like 3 or 4, and
Uh huh.
I could feel the whole thing. So
Oh fuck. Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I have a pretty high pain tolerance, but also because
Yeah.
that's also why I fucking hate hospitals. So
Well,
um,
let's see. There was a guy. Actually, I know Jim covered him before. I can't remember what video he covered him in. There was a guy in Jacksonville, a dentist, who like basically did significant unnecessary dental procedures on children without pain meds, and like basically just tortured children and like unnecessary tooth removals, root canals, pulp canals, etc., just to get the I guess what would that be? Medicaid money or Medicare or Medicaid, right?
yeah, yeah, Medicaid. Yeah,
I guess he was doing it as a Medicaid scam,
yeah.
like just to do unnecessary dental procedures on kids, and eventually he got caught. But like that's just like yeah, that's just what you reminded me of. Is there's like, and that was in Jacksonville. I'm pretty sure that was Jacksonville. It was Jacksonville and another city, but they caught him in Jacksonville.
Glad they caught him. Fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was ages ago, but like, goddamn.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, dental, I mean, you know, nobody likes going to the dentist to begin with, even
Yeah,
for like,
whole
you know,
generation of kids in Jacksonville are totally fucked for life as far as dentists now, right? Just like I'll take
yeah,
I'll take all the bad teeth in the world, just never going back to that place.
yeah,
That or they've got 30 pearly white, perfectly brushed teeth for the rest of their life.
yeah, no, I've only ever had like one cavity in my life, and I didn't get it until I was about 25. But even so, it was in the very back, and I made sure that was the one time where I made sure that they gave me like plenty of you know, I don't know if it was Novocaine or something, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, Joe, you're
people who do
weird.
dentist, people who opt to do dentistry work without any sort of anesthesiology, I think they're the same people who like pain. So
Well, I mean, I'll put it like this: like
uh,
I have a high pain tolerance and a high pain threshold. It's like, which is partly the reason why I was able to set my hand before I went to the doctor the first time for this round of stupid. Like, so and it's only a cool thing when you're like in high school and you're doing dumb shit with your friends to see like who can deal with the most pain. Because the rest of your life after that, it just gets you in trouble. Like, doing dumb shit like going, oh, I don't need my crutches anymore. I don't feel any pain when they tell me I should be feeling pain. And then you find yourself back in crutches because it doesn't
yeah,
matter if you felt the pain, you still fucked your leg up. So, like, I went in and out of
yeah,
crutches several times in high school because of that, just dealing with my knee. And, like, again, like I said, it's cool and all for like 5 minutes. Like, yeah, man, I didn't feel that at all. And then, well, that's still broken. I guess we'll have to go get that fixed. That'll take forever. Yeah,
yeah.
both the
I
high
don't think
tolerance is good, but the threshold part really fucks you up. Because the tolerance, you can like get stuff done, but at least it hurts. The threshold is like if you just don't feel it yet, not good.
yeah. Well, that happened to me too. There have been a few instances where I've like banged my knee getting in and
Hmm.
out of the shower a few times,
I could see that happen.
and
Yeah.
I've never even felt it.
Huh.
And
That's not good.
and then so like I rarely ever wear shorts, but when I do, I remember one time my knee got pretty bruised, and my mom pointed out, and I was like, "Huh, I didn't even know
Yeah,
it was
that's
bruised."
the threshold
So,
thing, and
but
it's like I said, it's cool for like 5 minutes, just like all right, I got a story or whatever. But like later on, you go, well, how often do I want to deal with this shit? It's kind of it's another chore in the day.
yeah, no, the wild thing is when I actually when I got COVID about like
Hmm.
2 years ago, I got it I got it really bad because I at first I thought it was a flu, but it was full blown COVID. I had the worst
Hmm.
uh back
Got
pain,
Delta.
yeah, ever,
Yeah.
and yeah, so
No, my girlfriend, she got it.
uh
She basically got like wild type or alpha that October, and like she was like that was really fucking bad. Like her bed was like 3 feet away from the door frame to the bathroom, and like by the time she got up and got to the door frame and like got a hold of it, she had already tunnel vision down to half her field of view, kind of ready to pass out. It's like it was fucked up. I'm glad that it's like as a
yeah,
disease, it's kind of like it's gone more endemic and it's kind of milding. It's tapering itself out towards a milder disease. Uh, it's one of the reasons why I'm
yeah,
actually really what I'm really more fearful of is that we'll have a response kind of the way that we had this last time with COVID if we have something like Ebola show up, and like we should absolutely have an overreaction to that shit and stop it in its tracks instead of just let it in like we did last time. Because that was fucking stupid. We could have shut shit
yeah,
down so much harder at the borders, not internally, but like at the borders where it's more appropriate. So much easier to do it that way
yeah.
than to
Well,
But
try and
that was
control it
racist to do
internally.
that.
Yeah, exactly. And even though it was Americans coming back from China, not just Chinese people. The whole Hug a Chinese campaign in North
Yeah,
Italy,
well,
that was the dumbest shit I've ever seen. But yeah, I mean, we had evidence that it was also circulating earlier than they said, back in October of 19. So like, there's all this, and it's funny now. There's that great video that's circulating around, and I mentioned it to I think Bats earlier today. Like there's that video of with Colbert and Stewart, and Stewart's just mocking the name thing, and the whole point of it was for Colbert to be able to mock the people who noticed the similarity between the Wuhan virus and the Wuhan Institute of Virology, right there. And so Stewart
yeah,
was kind of going over the board on that, but he wasn't wrong, and the way that clip has just been aging like wine, showing the snooty bullshit coming out of Colbert and his inability to actually articulate why someone like Jon Stewart noticing obvious shit is wrong when it wasn't, obviously, but like the lacking any ability to articulate even an excuse for looking down his nose at Jon Stewart as he was making that argument. It was just blatant that he had nothing.
yeah,
And again, it's
yeah. Even
maybe in the Hershey's Pennsylvania one was I liked that one at the end. It's just maybe there's been an outbreak of chocolatey goodness near Hershey, Pennsylvania. Maybe a crane mated with a tree, or maybe it was the goddamn chocolate factory. Ah. It's one of those things
yeah.
where like you're right, and like
Well,
it's just fucking stupid that you have to deal with some of this bullshit, and there's people that I'm sure are either too embarrassed or too entrenched in their belief to bother bringing this topic up with me again, because I'm gonna tell them I was fucking right. I mean, I don't do it in a way that's particularly cruel, but at the same time, at a certain
yeah,
point, I am gonna go ahead and take that victory lap, motherfucker, because I got so much shit blown back my direction over it.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've thrown it back. I've thrown it back in other people's faces already because
And that's why
when
occasionally
people
you'll see me tweet, "Fuck you, I was right. Fuck you, I was right. Fuck you, I
Right.
was right," with no context. That's what that is.
Although it's
well
not, it's annoying that you have to do that as a callback to Razor Fist, though.
Oh, I know.
well when
He was fucking wrong.
Oh, I know.
well
And
when
then
pe-
it's not.
well
And it's not intended as a callback to Razor
I,
Fist.
I know, I
That's the
know.
way I
I'm fucking
feel.
with you. I'm fucking with you.
well when people when people were complaining out Trump's Supreme Court, or
Hmm.
with the Supreme Court, rejecting Roe v. Wade, and that
Yeah.
they did the My Body My Choice. I told a few people, including people in my family who were bitching about that. I said, I'm like, no, no, no. I'm like, you don't get to complain
You don't get to do
about
that now.
about about that. Well,
Yeah.
why not? Well, why not, fascist? Um,
Because you didn't let us fucking bitch about the goddamn fucking vaccines.
I'm like, yeah, because I'm like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, because I'm like, yeah, because some of you motherfuckers, like, literally called me and berated me about not getting the COVID vaccine, and then when I finally did get COVID, you were like, I told you you should have gotten the vaccine,
Well, that's a test of
which
one. That's a test of one on one. I like it's. See that pisses me off because that is such a ridiculous declaration of scientific ignorance, especially surrounding vaccination. When someone says, "I told you you should have gotten vaccinated," it's like, well, the thing is that it was supposed to maybe lessen severity of symptoms, not necessarily going to be sterilizing immunity and prevent me from getting transmission.
it's
It's just
also
holy fuck.
it's also a really shit thing to say
Yeah,
though too.
especially if someone's sick and if you give a fuck about them.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
like, what? I mean, listen,
I mean, you know,
I have family members who are chronic smokers, right? But if they got lung cancer, never would I ever in a million years say, oh,
You
too
shouldn't have
bad.
smoked.
You smoked for 40 years, so
Well, it's not even like you knew you were gonna get it. It's like you smoked for 40 years and now you deserve to get it. Like
yeah,
that's the kind of sentiment that it's given off.
yeah.
It's just kind of it's kind of fucked up.
No,
Like
no, no. And then what was even better was so again, this is a medical show, so just want to preface this. This is just my experience, but
this is his doctor's advice. Thank you,
I
Dr. Whitfield.
I actually did take ivermectin, and
Was it
it
at your
did
doctor's prescription?
yeah, yes,
Okay, well then you sought medical advice, you were prescribed a treatment, and you took it, and you felt better.
yeah,
I'm not seeing where any of this is inconsistent with the rest of what we've done for like hundreds of years now.
yeah. And I also got some of those IV things too, basically
Hmm.
whatever, basically some of the stuff that Rogan
But
did.
you listened to your doctor, and your doctor said this is what you're gonna do. He said, "Okay, doctor," and then
Yeah,
you felt better because your doctor prescribed your treatment, and your illness resolved.
yeah. And
Which is
so
great.
but then people were like, oh my God, you did the Joe Rogan thing of taking ivermectin. And I'm like, yeah, and it made me feel better. So and now
But
I've got
again, he got prescribed medicine by his doctor, and then his
yeah,
disease abated, his illness resolved, he felt better. You didn't show up to your doctor and say, "Hey, look, I got this tube of apple horse paste. I'm going to go ahead and take this stuff. Would you like to give me a prescription for it?" He said, "Doctor, I feel sick." They said, "Oh, we gave you a test. You had COVID. Here's the drugs we're going to prescribe to you to make you feel better." Like
yeah,
I'm not like the fact that you have people coming after your ass, like you did the whole Joe Rogan thing, as if you walked in, as if like, I don't know what people why people have this perception, but people don't often walk into a doctor's office after having just seen a commercial on TV and say, "Doctor, I feel like I need to see butterflies outside. Give me Abilify, please." They don't come in and say, "Doctor, I need Paxlovid." They come in and they say, "Doctor, I feel sick, and this is the illness. These are my symptoms." And the doctor says, "I think I have something for you." Those commercials are windfalls and liability cover your ass measures.
yeah,
Those are designed to buy out journalism writ large at a media organization. Those are not for you. They're there specifically as cover your ass in court. So when you go up to when you the fact that they have this perception that you went to a doctor and you said, "Doctor, I feel bad. I want the Joe Rogan treatment." It's amazing because it's what it tells you is something about their psychology. They have such a low expectation of you that they think you're influenced to go to a doctor and do what no one else on the planet has ever fucking done. Tell your doctor about an ad you saw for a drug on TV, and then expect to get treated with that.
yeah.
It doesn't happen really.
Although although to be fair, with the amount of drug commercials on TV, uh,
Sure.
I'm not because like I do have friends who are from Europe who they think that Americans do that because when they've been over here in America, they
Well,
see all
as
they
they
s-
say, the European mindset can't comprehend this.
right,
But,
but no,
but as propagandized as we are in the United States, we're also a bunch of cynical pricks.
yeah,
Nobody's showing just telling you, the people who show up at the doctor's office and tell them about the hot new drug on TV. Those are the reps who are trying to get rid of the quota load of free drug samples they've been tasked to distribute. That's why if a doctor ever says, "Well, I got some of these free samples," and pulls them out of the cabinet, they're trying to get rid of some of the crap that they just got thrown.
Yeah.
so that they can make some more. Because like they can't just like throw that stuff out. And to be
Now,
fair, sometimes it's a good thing because sometimes it's like, hey, here's a free sample of a drug that's actually effective. But sometimes it's just like, hey, here's effectively a fucking placebo. We don't know what's gonna do.
to be fair to my doctor though too, he did want to send me to the hospital, but I was like, nope, I'm
Sure.
not doing
So
I'm
he had to
not
deal
doing
with you.
I'm not doing that. So what else?
Uh,
What else have you got? And so yeah, then he basically did. Yeah. So then he basically did tell me to take the magical, horse paste, as it were.
well, that's the
And
funny thing is that whole entire thing. You know, the genuine anger that Joe Rogan showed is basically reflective of just about everyone else who's ever understood what ivermectin was before COVID. Like it's prescribed way more to humans than it has ever been to horses,
yeah,
than it's ever been used by horses, let alone fish, let alone anything else. Um, it was designed as a human drug. It's been prescribed as a human drug for fucking decades. It's well established with its history. Like the fact that they decided that this was they gave ivermectin the fucking McDonald's lady treatment. They fucking decided that this was going to be their route for telling people to use a different kind of drug. And frankly, I'm curious about is what PR department, what PR team was involved with the mass messaging of that, because that shit just screams. So the McDonald's lady is the one who had the hot coffee cup land in her lap.
right, yeah,
That was 200 and that liquid was like 210 degrees Fahrenheit. It was boiling hot water. And if you've ever held one of their coffee cups, they're made to withstand like 150 degrees. They're thin paper cups with thin like cardstock as the little heat mitt, right?
right,
They're flimsy as hell. So if you're handed that and it has boiling water in it, it's gonna fucking hurt. So when she dropped, like, she had to have a labiaplasty to unfuck like her entire genital situation after that.
ooh,
The fact that we all remember her as being some kind of a joke, because she won like $12 million or whatever, dropping hot coffee in her lap at a McDonald's, is because they paid a PR firm to smear her the entire time, and because her lawyers were competent lawyers, they told her to shut the fuck up. So she never had a press conference to come back at that. She did the smart thing and basically got to the point where she was able to settle it and get some money and like fix herself. But
yeah,
the public zeitgeist was set because of that. So the question really is like with this whole ivermectin thing, what was, because clearly there was something beyond just word of mouth going on, and it's not conspiratorial, like it doesn't have to be. There's no deep conspiracy to this. It's simple economics. Somebody was frustrated that they're going to have to do competition here, and let's say
yeah,
that there was and at the time there was genuinely um, there are concerns for different competing protocols as to how you're going to address COVID diagnostically and prognostically. How are we going to treat this? And ivermectin was part of one route. The other route, obviously, if we want to do more preventative care, that's ultimately the annoying thing with dealing with someone who doesn't like vaccines. As far as the argumentation goes, the logical misstep is always there. Well, if vaccines give you better, if natural immunity gives you better immunity, then why don't we go with that? And well, so that defeats the whole purpose of a fucking vaccine, which is to never get the virus in the first place, at least not like the serious disease from it. So
yeah,
there's that chicken and egg argument you have to go through there, and then okay, on the side of that, well, what if we have good treatments if you get the disease? And the problem is that people will supplant that into the vaccination argument or anti-vaccination argument. It's like, well, if ivermectin exists, why do we need to bother with the vaccination? It's like, okay, well, sidestep that. What if you got infected anyway? Surely you would like to have a treatment like ivermectin on the side ready to go.
yeah,
What if you're too late for vaccination and you're just sick? What if you got vaccinated and you got sick anyway because the vaccine for whatever reason didn't work on you? We needed to have these kind of protocols in place. The fact that we demonized them before we even got to the point where we needed them and they're actually part of critical care. Critical care. Like it's kind of bewildering that we allowed that as a thing, and then these same motherfuckers, these same exact motherfuckers, came around with the whole Roe v. Wade thing. I think this is a fantastic little kind of come full circle here. Same exact motherfuckers are trying to get people to take horse tablets for horse ulcers, stomach ulcers, as an abortifacient for humans. Because, by the way, I didn't know that was a thing either, but apparently it is.
Yep, nope.
There's the horse ulcer medicine can be used to abort babies in humans. So don't take this horse paste, take these horse tablets. Also, my body, my choice, except when you want it to be, except when I want it to be again, and then I'm going to take these tablets.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that there are these. It's not that history rhymes and all, but not that history repeats, but it rhymes, and there's just beautiful symmetry to it.
Well, and that's what I've told people too, regarding the 2024 election, this last election. What I've always said is, to me, it's not even so much that it wasn't so much at least a vote for Trump. I think what a lot of people didn't vote so much for Trump, but they voted for the rejection of ultimately the left and all these double standards.
Well, see, I can accept that, especially given the prevalence there. I'd say that the right has a significant number of these double standards too, which just is what it is. We're all human. We're all human, but I mean, they're not as prevalent and in your face, and they're certainly not as significant. At least they weren't in 2024. And you can see it. It's funny. So Democrats, it used to be, and it kind of still is. It used to be that the big difference between Democrats and Republicans was they both want to spend more, but Democrats will tell you it. Republicans will promise you they're going to spend less and then fuck it up. Which kind of waiting for that doggy bill to go through.
Yeah.
So, but you can see kind of a similar parallel with we're going to get the Epstein files out, and then we're waiting. Now, the nitpicks I'd have with the current admin are kind of blown out by the fact that 90% of the promises that were made in the lead up to the election have already been kind of carried out.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's a critical 10% that still needs to be met to get to the 100. But it's also like a lot of the important part of the 100 are concentrated down in that final 10%. So.
I'm with you. I have several problems with the Epstein thing. One of my biggest problems, though, with the Epstein thing, at least initially, was the fact that, all these influencers.
Oh, the lies, yeah.
All these influencers, some of whom I like, but
with their fucking binders, yes.
Yeah. They all got binders, and it's like, I'm sorry, but why?
The biggest problem I had with that was the shit excuse that came afterwards. Like, if you're gonna try and lie to us, do a good job, because I was a victim of circumstance thing, as far as walking outside and suddenly there's cameras there and everyone's ready with their fucking binder. Get the fuck over yourself,
It's not even so much that, but my whole thing is, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I think we can all agree that Jeffrey Epstein was a heinous guy, and no matter what side you're on politically, that whole thing is sick and disgusting.
Well, unless your painting is up inside someone else's house. And say you're in a blue dress. Right?
Well, but by them giving the binders to all those conservative influencers, they made something that they made an issue that should have been nonpartisan partisan.
Oh yeah.
And that.
Well, it's been kind of that way because of the election. Let's be fair. Because Kamala Harris was never going to come out and promise us the Epstein files. And that was one of the distinguishing campaign promises.
Yeah.
If there was going to be ever a hope for that to be totally nonpartisan in the way that it would be desirable, it had way left the station, 8 years ago. So,
Yeah,
which is unfortunate.
yeah. No, no, you're not wrong. My favorite thing though is is people like the Krassteins constantly trying to link
Oh my
Trump
god.
to Epstein
And
and then
that's
being
my thing too. If Trump was actually linked with Epstein, he would be the one name that was leaked.
Well, he is linked to Epstein. He's linked directly to the trial that put Epstein behind bars.
No, right, no, but I'm
yeah.
saying the
Fucking
Epstein
duh.
files, his name would have been leaked as a.
Oh well, there's the other thing is the flight logs are already leaked. We have when Trump was on the Lolita Express, and it went from New York to Florida and from Florida to New York. Like he just got a hop home with this guy, and then he sold his ass out to the FBI when they came to him and said, "Hey, look, we think he might be trafficking underage women." And he said, "Yeah, I don't like him. Here's everything I know about him." Like it's, like they specifically said, Trump's testimony was instrumental in being able to get this guy behind bars. Like clearly,
Yeah.
Trump did not like him, and there was a reason for that. The same reason that Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago and prevented him from ever having a membership again, because he liked little girls. Like
Yeah, and
this is something that is well known, and the fact that they think they can come back and use this as a gotcha is hilarious. It's never going to work.
yeah, well the fact that Trump doesn't want any of his granddaughters in Hollywood is
Right.
very that's very telling.
Yeah.
In and
Well,
of
the
itself.
fucking the stories of like I mean, there's Justin Bieber, which everyone's kind of figuring out with P Diddy and so on. Um, but like Elijah Woods, that guy, like he's a tragic case of Hollywood. Like that's pretty brutal, just on its own.
Yeah.
That whole thing with him, and like it's kind of wild that whole entire fucking state needs to go. But that's a separate opinion, I guess.
I mean I know everyone's made fun of him for this now, but like the South Park meme kind of broke Kanye. It actually ended up
Oh yeah,
becoming true.
dude, that shit is just so fucked up. I mean, so the funny thing is, I can see how a person who has nothing left to lose, and he's just like, I'm just gonna fuck with people now. Like if I hated my cousin and I had literally nothing left to lose of my reputation, I was like, if I had already, say I'm Kanye and already praised Hitler, I could
Yeah.
fuck with my cousin hard by saying something as stupid as I sucked his dick until I was 14. Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine ever showing like that guy, whichever cousin it is, and that's the best part is he doesn't say which cousin it is. Whatever cousin comes out later on, it's just like, was he talking about me? He never touched me, and stuff like that. That's always going to be the fucking question when you show up at a conference. Like, if you show up in public from then on,
Which
hey,
does
so how often was he sucking your dick? It's like, son of a bitch. So I mean,
I,
that's putting a lot more charity towards him than I think is reasonable. But at the same time, like that's brutal. Like
yeah.
that is some fiendish behavior on the family dynamic.
Well, I've also listened to that song a few times, and I don't remember the specific lyrics. But it definitely seemed like he's also bitter about like Kim, leaving him, and
Well, I mean, he named his kid a cardinal direction.
yeah, well,
Seriously, dude. I mean, just yeah.
yeah, poor
What's
kid.
your name? What's your kid's name? Up to the left. God damn.
yeah,
I don't know. He's had The same way I would say that it's up to you whether or not you take a vaccine, I think that to the most extent we can make it humanely possible, if someone doesn't want to take drugs to correct their abnormal mental state, I think that's perfectly reasonable too. That's up for every individual person. I think that there are certain people who probably, the whole idea of not doing harm to yourself or others probably ought to come in at some point. I'm not saying that he's going to do that. I'm just saying like that there's got to be a gray area somewhere, and having
Yeah.
enough capital under your belt for your own self harm to not immediately harm others. What's the extent of that to which people should be taking action at a personal level? Like for his family to step in and say, like, "Hey, man, your son." Whereas I'm not saying the state should come down on his ass, but like at a certain point, somebody should convincingly assist him with shutting the fuck up in public for
Yeah.
his own benefit, for his family's benefit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're definitely
Like not in a way that's mean. Don't just like
right.
just to show up and like say like, dude, you need to shut the fuck up. Like, give him a good enough reason that actually percolates. The problem is
Yeah.
that a lot of that starts to sound like fucking mafia behavior. You show up
Yeah.
just like, hey man, it'd be good for your family if you shut the fuck up.
Well,
Really,
well,
it should come from within the family, but it won't.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. It's like the family should be doing it, but I don't know how. Like, there's not like a. How do you do that?
yeah.
It's an
Well,
unsolved
I
problem.
mean, talking to folks like, John Guarnieri and, some of my other friends who have, been in or around show business, there are definitely, I'm not saying this is true for all, people in show business, but there definitely does seem to be, a certain percentage that they already have, they have mental issues to begin with, and then um, you know, fame and fortune just exacerbates um
Hmm.
it and makes
Well, it
and
certainly
makes
amplifies lower quality personality traits.
yeah. So
So you have less of a social check on exposing them as frequently.
yeah.
I suppose that comes with fame in any respect. You don't necessarily need fortune for that. Just to have yes men around you who don't have your best interest in heart.
Yeah. I mean the thing, I mean just speaking from personal experience too, that I think it's always good to trust your gut too. Um
But what if your gut tells you to praise Hitler?
And you
Ah,
ask for a second opinion. You ask the pancreas for a second opinion.
well, I
Oh
mean,
man. I mean, that's we can be fair and say that sometimes, on occasion, maybe the gut's wrong. I don't think
well,
he
yeah.
consulted. I don't think he consulted with too many other people. I think that was a moment where he pulled out his phone and went, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna let the internal voice do the external voice for a hot minute.
Well, but
Wait, those are
then,
he had a Bush moment. Those are supposed to be inside words.
but then the internal voice also said, also said that, oh, Jonah Hill, made a good movie and he's Jewish, so.
That was the best part. Is just like how he comes out of it. He's like, I no longer hate Jews. Why? Jonah Hill made a good movie, and I'm fucking one.
Did he? And at one point, I remember Max brought up a story on the show um, where allegedly Kanye was going to try and become like a Jewish rabbi, that would have been like the most like
I would have laughed
Larry,
so goddamn hard.
that would have been the most like Larry David-esque like
Yeah.
you know like character arc, basically.
That would have been pretty funny. I mean, I don't know
So
what fucking synagogue would have taken him in, but that would have been a very popular synagogue for a select group of people for a while.
yeah. Well, I it's always hilarious because I don't remember the person's name. I think at one point there was like there was one of the Groypers, I guess, found out that they themselves were like part Jewish because of like 23 and Me or something like that, and
Uh
obviously they didn't take it that well. So
huh.
um so that's always
I mean, that's not a moment where I'm going to sit there and pull out the world's tiniest violin to play out the full length version of My Heart Bleeds for You. Um, maybe just the 30-second snippet you're gonna get on iTunes, right?
yeah. No, that's when I'll play the Curb Your Enthusiasm,
Right.
theme.
Yeah, Dick Wolf credits.
Yeah. So my still though my favorite one of my favorite jokes was I saw this comment on I really like to give Reddit credit for anything, but I did see this one Reddit thread. It was something like, well, Germany's been smart and they've given all their citizens extra stimulus checks or whatnot, especially the artists. And it was something
Uh
like, because we all know what happens when art students get disgruntled.
huh.
Um,
Yeah, when German art students get disgruntled.
yeah.
God, I don't know if you've ever seen his paintings, but they sucked. It's the least inspired, boring shit.
Hmm.
I wish there was something there where you're just like, wow, you can see the insanity in his work. It's like, no, he's boring.
Well, no, that's the other thing too is yeah, I have seen that they were terrible, and then you see some of these influencers who are on the left who are pro
Mhm.
Palestine, and they're art students too, and it's like
There's parallels.
I see some of the stuff that you guys are like a like an expired banana as a piece of artwork is not
Yeah, the tape to the wall. All right, I'll be right back.
yeah. Uh, Too funny. And yeah,
This stream has been pretty funny.
very. Um, yeah. So apparently people are still posting. Oh, speaking of apparently people are still posting yay memes. I don't
Oh,
know.
jeez.
I don't know if this one is real or not. I'm gonna go check his account just to make sure that this one is real before I share it, because you know how people be with photoshopping
Yep. It's gotten worse lately.
tweets. So you know the funniest thing though too is somehow all of Kanye's anti-Semitic songs are all on like iTunes and Spotify.
Go figure that. Yeah,
So
any smaller right wing creator would be immediately booted for a fraction of what he said.
yeah. Oh, oh, jeez. Now yeah. I can't show some of this on stream. It's not.
You just became a premium content creator, Sam. You can't burn it down already.
Yeah. But basically, I never thought I would see a poorly drawn stick figure. That's like new. So okay, basically, Ye just pulled an Andrew Tate in the sense that he's saying it's bad to watch porn and whatnot. But basically, just to give you guys an idea, there's a picture that he basically draw of a naked man wearing wearing a Klan hood, and
I
yeah.
leave for like a minute, and we're back to naked Klansmen.
Well, I mean, I just had to check. Yeah, I just had to check
Ye's
Ye's
a kid.
account because apparently he's he's
See.
tweeting stuff again.
Oh, of course he is.
So
I guess Canada's off to a fun start here. It looks like their seat split so far is 23 Liberal to 12 Conservative. Not that that means a whole lot.
uh yeah, so Canada's well, it's not really surprising that Canada's split.
Well, I mean, it's just with the Conservative, they're not being like usually. I think of them as being fairly liberal leaning. In fact, they got 12 out of 35. I guess that's better than it could be.
Yeah,
But then again, I mean, that's there's way more seats there. Looks like my guess is that they're probably going to be a little bit before they actually have any serious results. It's probably going to be like fucking 2 weeks from now. Who knows?
well, I mean,
2 weeks to flatten the election. There we go.
it's not like it's not like it's not like there haven't been strange elections before anywhere. Hmm. And well, I will say this: Twitter is never not entertaining.
Hmm.
So yeah, if Canada actually did have a chance of leaning more to the right, that would be entertain. That would certainly be interesting.
I am curious. Like, are they going to pull out all the American whiskey again, so they can take it off the shelf again? That
I
was fucking funny
mean,
last time.
maybe, but like, what exactly does that mean? Do they ship it all back to Canada, or is it just
No,
like
no, no, no. So they took all of the American whiskey off the shelf and put up Canadian whiskey instead on camera. For their viewers on X or Instagram, what have you. TikTok,
Mhm.
etc. And then quietly, for in the intervening month, they put the American whiskey back on the shelf. And then somebody said something or another, and they made a big show of taking all the American whiskey off the shelf again over tariffs. It's like you guys already did that, which means that in the meantime, quietly you put all the American whiskey back. So I
Yep.
have no reason to not assume that that's going to happen identically again. So I'm just curious what the next thing is that's going to make them all start pulling the American whiskey off the shelf again, because clearly they put it back up.
Yeah. Well, that's the $1 million question, I suppose.
Probably going to be another tariff.
Well, we're they what was the amount with China? Like 150, 110.
140 something percent, I think, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 150 at this point. I think it was
Yeah.
125. It was 125%, and there was already a 20% one that was going to go in, so it was on top of that, which would be 145%. I think that's what it ended up being.
Oh boy.
Which I like that people freak out about it, and at the full retail price here. It's like no, that's the price off the boat. Uh, the Nike shoes go from $10 to $12.50, and then they turn around and still sell them for $180. And if you're stupid enough to shell out another fucking like $25 for $50 to them because they said tariffs, then I got a bridge for sale.
Yeah, well that's just like all those people who buy Ray brands, who buy like Ray Bans and Oakley,
Yeah,
and turns out all that is owned by the same, you
yeah.
know, supposedly Oakley and Ray Bans are competitors, or that's what they would have you
Oh well,
think, but
actually, there's a better one for you. Go to your supermarket. Go down the aisle for like toiletries. See how many of those different brands, those different supposedly competing brands. Look in the back of them. See how many of them say P&G.
oh yeah,
If you weren't
that's
aware of that kind of shit before, it's like, and this isn't like it's a bad thing. I think that having interdepartmental competition makes a company better. When you are capable of purchasing entire brands and their brand association, and doing so in a way that does not manifest directly on the packaging in a way that the customer notices, and you can maintain that perception of competition while getting market capture, that's pretty clever shit. And P&G has done very well at that.
oh yeah, and so has like Luxottica. I just bring up Ray
Yeah,
Bans because I actually I used to have a podcast
like
sponsorship.
InBev and Anheuser Busch, like that's a good example too. A lot of those different beers, people consider them competing, and they're not. The idea of, for instance, I'll stop drinking Budweiser and switch to like Shock Top. It's like, okay, well, you got to give them money from one way or the other.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to
No.
making one brand manager sweat a little bit inside the company is not going to make the company upset if you're buying more of the other product than you would have anyways.
Yeah. Well, no, and that was the other interesting thing, though, was like there was a point at which, like, when that things happened, when I did boycott, Budweiser. But like now I've started buying it again because it's like, okay, uh they got the point and they actually did.
Fuck them. They're a European brand now. InBev's not
Yeah.
American.
That's why I go with my local beer. Well, I
Also,
won't lie to myself, but yeah.
they've been making their beer out of rice for years, and it sucks. It's better when it was hops.
Yeah.
Sorry, not hops. Better when it was a grain.
Yeah, I mean,
I know rice is a grain, but still, fuck that shit.
There are some good local brews here too.
Yeah.
But my point is like I'm not necessarily going to turn down a Budweiser if someone gives one to me
Oh, if I got
now.
one for free,
So
I just have to make sure the cap is on tight before I open it.
well, yeah, yeah,
that's that's about the end of that one.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
I'll make jokes and whatnot, but yeah, I'm not gonna just go out of my way at this point to look down my nose at somebody for drinking a Bud. Whatever. Um, I'll hold the grudge because it's my personal decision. I'm not gonna do it as if I'm gonna change the whole fucking market. If I
yeah,
don't want to have it again, it's because I don't want to have it again. It's that simple.
well,
The notion that I'm gonna be basing my brand decisions around which one dildo main veiny is touched, um, just it loses its cachet. It loses its utility in my day to day life.
yeah, well, that's that's like the people who you know they
Well, so the rule of thumb is to not give money to people who hate you. Even like if someone makes a good product and they say something stupid every so often, you can weigh that against how good is their product. And if the product's really good, then like, okay, whatever. But if they're like actively, openly hostile towards you, and they don't like you, and they may have a mediocre product that's immediately replaceable, at that point I have no incentive to care about their product ever again.
yeah, and that's kind of been the case for me the last few years with Stephen King, honestly.
Oh well, sure, yeah.
All and I mean, I'm not now. With that being said, like I'm not gonna be like, well, he's a terrible writer because he still is one of
Pretty
the
good with writing. His writing has kind of
greatest of
gone
all
to crap
time.
under Trump, but like he does okay with writing.
Well, yeah,
The little
um,
self inserts from the political spectrum into his writing have kind of made themselves obvious. So that's lower tier writing. That's not competent.
yeah. Well, and to be fair, I think there were other authors like Michael Conley who did some of that. But I think the difference is I think some of them realized that it was alienating their readers, and so they stopped doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
and that like I can definitely I can forgive that for sure. So, but if you're gonna be
Well,
someone who
art and artist, right? If you can separate them out.
yeah, well, and that is one of the hard things with someone like Kevin Spacey is there are some like legit there are some legit like Kevin Spacey movies that I've loved that are like
Mm-hmm.
that are weird to watch now that
Yeah,
he's in them.
especially if there's a
I
little
mean,
boy in the movie.
yeah, well, some of them are some of like American Beauty was a weird movie to begin with, but
Mm-hmm.
now especially with everything going on, that has come out about him. So, but
Well, gentlemen, it's about that hour for me over here right now. Um,
yeah.
so, thanks for having me on. It's
Oh,
been a
thanks for coming
fun
on.
stream.
Thanks for coming on, as always.
I think we went like like an extra 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's I think that's you know I think that's that's pretty good for what was originally planned for just like a
15-minute
30
thing.
minute announcement. But anyway, and Max says that that Pap should pay him for promos. I agree. Listen, if there's any
Sure.
if there's any like brew that wants to advertise on RTO Media,
I'll
let
tell you
us
guys what.
know.
Eventually, I'm gonna have some sort of beer or whatever that I end up making. At that point, I'll come to you guys. We'll do something. Whatever the fuck
That
happens.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Well, I
I'll
remember.
give you guys 1 week exclusivity on the opening branding.
Nice.
Yeah. I do remember too that like Atomic Denny. I don't know if he's still around, but I do know that he was the one who came with Troonshine.
Yeah.
So, so
I still have that account. I do
uh,
something with it.
yeah.
All right.
So,
Well, you guys have a fantastic evening, and
You as
I'll
well, sir.
catch up with you guys.
yeah. But anyway, and you can follow Craig Bob on Twitter at CraigBob 99. So. And tune into the Fake Untied podcast as well, which airs whenever
Whatever the hell they want.
whenever the hell they want, which could be any time these days. But yeah. And I agree with you, Max. Modern beer ads are trash. So and well, what the heck, Rumble? You were just saying that we had enough numbers to do an ad read, but now we don't. I will say that our viewer numbers are growing on Rumble, so I appreciate the 13 of you who have tuned in. But it is 10:45 at night almost, so I think I'm gonna call it a night to here. Any final thoughts? More?
Just that we'll see everybody Wednesday night, and be on the lookout for a bits and bones announcement. Probably sometime later this week.
Yes. Also, since Thursday is the 1st, that means we can't end the show quite yet because look who decided to jump
A
in.
random giant appeared.
So, well, I don't know. It's necessarily just the giant. I mean, it could be Maxine.
It could be Maxine.
Too. I'm assuming though that it's Play Max Stand.
Can you hear me?
I can, sir.
Oh, cool.
I can't.
No, it's just me.
I can't see you. I can't see you. You're doing your John Cena impression. So,
Yeah, I wasn't prepared, Sam. You either give the longest notice ever or no notice at all, sir.
Yeah, sounds about right for a cripple.
Yeah, well that tends to be the way things go. Well, guess like I don't know if you caught the very beginning of the show, but a guest had to cancel today, and I thought this would be good to announce that the Whitfield Report is now part of Rumble Premium.
Dope.
And thank you. And for what it's worth, I mean, I think I did a better job of promoting Rumble Premium than actually Rumble did, because like I said, you don't just get the Whitfield Premium, you also get Right to Offend Media Premium. and also
anybody else part of the creator program, as well as no ads site wide.
Yeah,
Pretty good deal.
Which honestly, I have to say makes the app on mobile work a lot better too, because the ads on the app, well, they have they really they don't buffer well. So even if you hit like skip ad on the mobile app, it doesn't always work. So
For me,
but
it's usually 2 back-to-back ads.
yeah. Well,
I've had premium for so long, Sam. I never had ads on Rumble as far as I can even remember.
oh,
That alone was worth it to me. Then they add in, all the premium content you'll be getting. So did you have ideas? What are you going to be doing?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if you caught the very beginning, but a few ideas I had. One was I know we've talked about it before, but maybe doing like an open line Friday show. I'm always a bit hesitant to just throw the join link in chat because you never know who's gonna pop up. But I feel like if if you're paying for Rumble Premium, you've already paid the price, of admission. So even if you did want to come in and troll us, it's still worth it because, you've paid the price for admission, and that's been good. Also probably gonna do like a few reaction streams, kind of mystery science theater stuff to like old movies and whatnot. And by old movies, I mean like from like detective movies, like from the 1940s or something like that. Stuff that's on YouTube. Maybe like a little more in depth of like an author panel.
Well, I can tell you what I got on deck for next week. Actually, is the season 7 premiere of Cringe Coffee House, as I led up to with the marathon, and man, a lot of people came out and watched that. So cool.
I saw that. I didn't comment. I did tune in for a little bit, and that was cool.
Well, that was the point. It was supposed to just be like, they used to marathon the Three Stooges on a weekend or something. I figured it's like that because and by the way, I streamed it for almost a full day, and it was about half of what's in my playlist. And I only included what I consider good. There's a lot of episodes that are just not going to be included at all because they're just not very good. So that was cool. That was our biggest stream, actually, of the month, surprisingly. And then the Cantwell stream, that killed it as well. We had a couple good premium streams. But what we're coming back with for by request, Cringing Over Coffee is going to kind of go over the Sam Hyde iDubbbz feud, or more to the point, maybe an explanation to some of you people that would be confused as to why somebody might be into Sam Hyde or what he's about. And just kind of a look at some of his comedy more than iDubbbz, because I've never liked iDubbbz. He's been a friggin' bitch since day one in my mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna be going through some, not on premium, but I'm gonna be doing this for free. I'm gonna go.
Oh no, this is not a premium stream I'm talking about, Sam. This is the season. I'm actually planned this. This is going to be on Thursday night.
Cool.
Nice.
Cringing Over Coffee season 7 premiere. We're gonna do Sam Hyde and iDubbbz, and then the second stream I've already got a plan for, because we already tried to do it once. We're gonna react to a guy that says ICP and Juggalos are just racist, and then also watch. And I do have permission for this, by the way. Me and Maxine, and maybe we'll even let other people come in on a panel, are going to watch and react to Big Money Hustlers, the famous ICP movie from 1999 or 2000. I forget exactly when it released. And that'll all be on the second episode. and I got a couple ahead of that. And so yeah, Cringing Over Coffee, Sam Hyde, Cringing Over Coffee, Juggalos this week, starting on Thursday.
That's cool. Starting on Thursday as well. I'm gonna be restreaming some old episodes of not just the Whitfield Report, but the Whitfield Analysis, which is the old show that I did, and some of those don't even have video. Some of those are audio only, but it's been so long since I've listened to some of those that I don't even remember what I know that like a lot of those were during the 2012 election, so it'll be interesting to see like how my opinions changed on stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a good idea. You also mentioned doing just like a marathon of the author interviews. I think that's a fantastic idea because it gives people a chance to catch up on them. And that's exactly what my idea with the Cringing Over Coffee marathon is. And I'm probably going to do another one in the second half because that's a lot of the shit people more want to see, like the Johnny Fox stuff and the newer Dave stuff. I didn't even get there in the whole marathon, Sam. But the point was like, now if you tuned in at any point, it doesn't matter if you saw it all. Obviously, there was like 17 hours. Did you see anything new or interesting? What did you actually catch, Sam?
well, I caught some of the Dave stuff which I hadn't seen before, or actually the Dave stuff that I saw I actually had caught before. It had just been a long time. It was him yelling at that poor woman because the school bus was going by, but that one's always funny. I caught some of the stream of I don't know how much of this you played, but the one with you going over Daimyo's weird like esoteric
no, that was in there,
film
the
stuff.
whole episode.
Which is funny because like that was because like up to that point like he had been he had kind of messing with me, and then after that he was like he DM'd me and it was like please tell Max just to stop. He kind of dropped character at that point, so
yeah,
that was
funny. I watched again for the first and I watched for the first time in a long time the one on Payday Monsanto, which was the tough one for me because he's a musician, an artist that I actually like respect, and he's gone completely schizophrenic. So like, and I'm not trying to say that to be mean. He's literally like talking about nanobots on his skin and stuff. And on the one hand, that's such a fascinating story to me. This was a famous underground rapper that is now on YouTube, like ranting at the camera. And the other part is I didn't want to bring too much attention to him because like he still does that. And if you fuck with him, you could really mess. Like I don't think it's a good idea to go mess with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you want to know what's interesting too is like I've gotten requests from people because back in like 2011 or 2012 when the whole Charlie Sheen Tiger Blood saga happened, I actually covered that on my show, and there are some people who I guess want me to kind of recover that as kind of like an internet history thing. So
that's what I was trying to say is I purposely wasn't going to commentate those episodes. Like the point was, if you've never seen my show or if you have, but you missed all the classics, just running them back to back like that. But yeah, you should curate some episodes and kind of give your thoughts on them. I think that's a wise idea.
Yeah, well, I also I'm gonna commentate on the Ben Shapiro episode too, looking back because look, I mean, I think a lot of people they don't necessarily understand that. Look, I changed, but like Ben also changed his opinions chew somewhat. And the Ben Shapiro of 2012 is not the same as Ben Shapiro in 2024.
Sam, that I don't know if you know this. That's because they cloned him and killed the original.
That would certainly explain. That would certainly explain. That would certainly explain a lot.
Well, see, now he did a track, right, with Tom McDonald. So now he's a rapper, and I don't know if you knew this. They've been doing that to rappers for years. Like Eminem is like the 4th version.
Well, yeah.
What they do is they clone them, and then when they get out of line, they kill that one, and the clone comes in and takes over. Ben Shapiro, he's probably on the 3rd or 4th at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, where's my clone?
Look, you don't need to know where he is, okay? He's somewhere safe where we can keep an eye on him.
I mean, look, I know Shmuley has like been trying to clone me.
Well, yeah, but the problem is they keep being able to walk, and then we have to fix that somehow, right? And it's like it gets messy,
Well, then, why not give me the limbs that work though? I mean,
I don't think it works like that. I think that they come out and they're like perfectly fine walking around, and it's just like, well, nobody's gonna buy that, Sam.
That was actually shout out to Zach James. That actually was the way that he fixed like cerebral palsy and a lot of other things in his science fiction series, was to like clone people, and then the idea is that that would fix some stuff.
And then Shmuley read that, and we got off to talking, and so now we got the Sam clones. But I'm telling you, like, the problem is we were like, oh man, that's cool that they can like walk. But the problem is it's even a joke that Sam can walk. So if we replaced him with the Sam that can walk, we're just asking for trouble. So until we can perfect the process of either A, cloning Sam reliably where he can't walk, or B, breaking the clone's spine in such a way so that they can't walk, we're stuck with this version of Sam for now.
Yeah, but then the other thing too is like I don't have a broken spine. So
yes, but how else are we going to cripple the clone?
That's a good point.
Take them out at the knees.
You might be right. Maybe we could hobble them. I haven't tried that. We'll tell Shmuley to tell the minions at the mine to go hobble the Sam clones.
And I mean, as I established with Craig tonight, I mean they won't be able to feel it in the knees either. I mean, I've banged.
Oh no, they feel it, Sam. Oh my God, like you should see the amount of times when we break their spine that they feel that shit for sure.
Oof.
It's a good thing they're just clones, right? Nobody cares.
Yeah.
We were figuring, that we go through so many of them. We started a side business. I don't know if you heard of this, where we were making these meat sandwiches. We're selling them out of taco trucks. Because we had all this extra meat,
Yeah, and
put a little chili powder on that bitch, a little lime.
Yeah, literal sandwiches. I gotcha. So
that's right. We've been selling sandwiches.
Yeah,
and they are delicious, sir. We serve them Cuban style.
Well, of course. I mean, why wouldn't sandwiches be delicious?
Yeah. Well, the problem is like I don't know if you knew this, but this is like a fun fact, slaughterhouse fact here, is like if you don't stun the animal, or the animal in this case, the clone, first, And when you kill them, the meat gets all covered, like ingratiated with, like engorged with blood, and it tastes terrible. So people are like,
Yeah.
it's cruel to stun them first. No, it's not only so that they don't feel it, it's also so that their body doesn't react to it fast enough to ruin the meat. This is a
Right.
problem we have with the sandwiches. So sometimes we got to give them to the dogs. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's like, you didn't. He saw that one coming, and you know. Also, like you can't. You know, another fun fact: if you've ever been to like a factory farm, this is a thing you got to do: is they sew the buttholes closed so that when they die, this is true. You could ask Dr. Craig. I bet you he knows this one. So that they don't poop themselves. You know.
Yes, I actually do know that that's true.
And that's the tricky part, trying to sew a Sam clone's butthole shut, you know, for the sandwich making process.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny because when you start applying like actual like factory farming techniques to the idea of humans, suddenly PETA doesn't sound as crazy, because this shit is awful sometimes, but it's true.
Yeah, no.
Well, sausage has to get made, you know, and it requires you to put a fucking piece of pork through a grinder, and that's pretty gross.
Yeah.
I'm amazed by how many of you young folk are afraid to fucking touch meat. They did studies on this where younger people under 30 are afraid to touch raw meat. That's
weird.
so weird.
Yeah, well that would explain you know what, never mind. I'm not gonna go there.
That explain a lot of things, but to me, I'm just like, what? Like, I don't know. When you've actually like butchered animals, it seems silly when you come across all these like, so even people my age, men supposedly. There was this one guy. We were like, how he like invited me over for a barbecue, and then he like didn't know how to light his charcoal grill, and also was afraid to touch the steaks. And I was like, you know what? How about I just grill? I'll light the grill and I'll put the steaks on. And then he complained because it was like medium rare, and he said that it was too. He needed it well done, and I'm like, what a fucking fair.
That's fucking shoe leather.
Yes.
They were like
yes.
ribeyes, Sam. They were like, and I had that like the A1 sauce that I brushed it on with one of them little brushes, you know. And he's like, oh my God, it's still bloody. And I'm like, you understand there's no blood in this, right? Like that red liquid is not fucking blood, you retard.
I like my steaks to moo, basically, because I'm one of those.
Yeah.
I'm one of those.
Well, look, when I'm
people.
cooking for other people, I tend towards medium or medium well or medium rare, somewhere in that vicinity. But for myself, yeah, I like it a little rare, right? But like, I love that these people think like, I've heard young people say, I don't like when it's bloody. And I'm like, you understand that is not blood.
Yeah, that's not even the weirdest thing I've heard this week. This
I
is
hear it
gonna
all the time. I hear it. I've heard it for years. I just want people to understand that the red juice, when you cook a steak properly, is not blood. It's the natural juices in the fucking meat muscles that just taste good. It's not blood, and it's delicious. By the way, it's called a jouis in French.
Yeah. I love jouis.
It means the juice.
Random question, Max. Does your son know how to use the microwave?
Yes, but we don't let him.
What? Why not?
Because one time he put a breakfast sandwich in for like 5 minutes or something, and it smoked.
All right, understandable.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's okay. Well, I can understand that. What I don't get is these parents who won't let their kids operate the microwave because of EMF waves or Or when,
Well, then just don't have one in the home. I personally don't like microwaving things. Like I prefer not to eat things out of the microwave if at all possible. I cook them any way possible other than the microwave generally.
yeah, I have. Yeah, no, we have a toaster oven that we use all the time. Here
Well,
we don't
I'll
really,
fire up my frying pan. I'll fire up the oven. I'll fire up a toaster oven. I'll fire up anything other than the microwave, except if it's like, oh, I get them little breakfast sandwiches in the morning because I'm trying to get out the door or something. But
yeah.
otherwise, I really don't like using a microwave for anything just because I don't think I think the texture and taste is generally off if you microwave things.
No, I agree. Yeah, and for me, like personally, the toast oven is way easier to use. But like my point is I'm kind of poking fun at all these parents who are like literally who are afraid to let their kids use the microwave. Um,
Well, he helps me cook in my frying pan, though. He helps me cook on the stove. He helps me cut things.
Max, you can't do that. He might cut himself.
No, he saw me cut myself on cabbage. I showed you. I fucked my finger all up. He knows. That shows him that it's dangerous, and we're very careful. I don't know. You can't. It's funny because it's like as a father, you teach your child about like how to do a thing and how to be careful, and people are like, "Oh, you can't teach them that." And it's like, well, how about you go fuck yourself? If I want my son to go to a shooting range and learn how to shoot a gun in the safety of a fucking controlled environment, then you can just go to hell. If I want my son to learn how to fucking cook a meal, by the way, Sam, he actually equates cooking with masculinity because, as you may know, I cook most of the dinners around here.
Yeah, cooking is a very masculine
Well,
thing.
it can be either, right? But in his mind, he doesn't see it as like woman's work because it's something dad does. So he likes it and he's interested in it. And he comes in, he helps me. He likes to taste test. We've been trying to perfect the chicken tendy recipe, Sam, from scratch. That's what I've been doing for the
Oh,
past 2 years, trying to create my perfect chicken tendy.
yeah, well that's not a bad idea. I mean, like I'm not like a major health nut, but it certainly does seem like making your own chicken tendies would be healthier than buying the store-bought uh stuff. Just
Well,
saying.
I cook almost everything I cook is from scratch, Sam. I don't like processed food.
Neither do I. So,
People think that's like a work or something, but no, I like, especially since my heart attack, but even before then, I would like never put salt on anything. I don't like my food especially salty.
yeah.
I replace salt in my diet with a lot of other non-salt based flavors, and so I have a lot of. I would say I've made a lot of my own recipes, but I wouldn't even be able to tell you like what, like I don't use written recipes either. I cook just kind of by eye.
You and my mom would get along great. So I mean for multiple reasons, but that's definitely one of them.
I made some garlic basil buttered pasta and rice the other day. That was delicious with some
Mm.
broccoli and just those kind of chicken tendies. Sometimes I try and use like traditional tendies, with some breadcrumbs and brown them up. Sometimes I like to use like a mishmash of spices. There's a particular one Penn actually got for my wife as a gift one time called Dano's seasoning. I had never had this before, but it works great as like a coat to kind of deep fry things, sort of. Um, I'll make barbecued tenders. I'll make like all kinds of it, but everything comes from like boneless, skinless chicken breast and raw vegetables and pasta from scratch. I make most of my own sauces too.
Yeah, nice.
I like to cook, The
Yeah, I
reason it's
don't.
chicken so often is because like I'm limited to like I should only eat beef, a couple times a month. You know, the doctors aren't those crazy guys that'll say you could never eat beef, but they're like, hey, you should keep red meat to like a a treat, and I do.
Yeah,
So once
I
in a
don't.
while, instead of doing that, once in a while, me and Maxine will get a big ass fucking steak I'll cook up for us, you know, with just some garlic, salt and pepper.
I probably have like steak twice a month or so. But
Not, I wouldn't even say I go that far because red meat counts any hamburger as well. So right, I try to keep it minimum.
well, yeah, I
And any
can.
processed food that contains hamburger, which is actually more than people think a lot of times.
Oh yeah, a lot of things contain sugar too, even stuff that you wouldn't think contains sugar.
True, but sugar doesn't worry me because I fucking cardio my ass off,
Right.
literally. So sugar is not necessarily the enemy. Sometimes sugar is actually a friend when you do that much cardio, where you can get a little
Yeah.
boost through the day. But salt is always the enemy if we've had a heart attack. It's always like, but you need it. That's the thing. It's not something you can just cut out entirely.
Yeah, well our bodies are like you know partially made of salt too.
Yeah, it's like saying to cut
So,
out water or cut out food. Like,
We're partially a salt battery, literally.
yeah, and it's it's tricky to find that without being dehydrating yourself, which is why I got to go to the cardiologist. I got to get blood work once in a while, make sure I'm not dehydrated from medication or just trying to manage your salt intake. But I do pretty well. I don't worry about the sugar.
yeah, you do. Well, you've I think you've made progress even since you've been on the show. So,
I made a
uh
lot because when I started on the show, it was like right around the time I was at my biggest, bro.
oh
Because
yeah.
the fucking pandemic, I cut off, like, walking around was my big thing, and then I couldn't go anywhere, and they were frowning on you walking around, and I'm like, fuck.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is true.
And we maybe got a little too much fucking takeout because of that as well, for my liking.
Yeah.
I'd say between us, we probably lost, a person and a half.
Well, that's good. So,
Just since I started with your show, basically, a little before that. I started walking excessively to the degree I do now about 5 or 6 months before I started your show.
yeah. When I believe when you first came on the show when Akaba was co-hosting, was that pre or post heart attack? I can't.
Oh, that was
I honestly
way
can't remember.
dude, my heart attack was in 2017, Sam.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's been
Yeah.
almost 10 years.
Jeez. Well, you know, bravo, sir.
My son
For,
was 2 at the time.
oof,
I literally
yeah,
told you this whole story on the Cantwell stream to you directly.
yeah.
You kind of
Oh yeah.
forgot.
Oh yeah. I know. I remember.
My heart attack was going on when those idiots were marching in Charlottesville, Sam. That's when I was having my heart attack that same weekend.
Yeah. Well, you know that.
It's almost like the retarded Nazi energy that they were manifesting. Like my heart was like affected by it, like the Force, like Obi-Wan. My heart's
Yeah.
like, I sense a great retarded Nazi disturbance in the Force.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, that would have stressed me out too. I'm not saying that what I did for you, but certainly didn't help.
No, I said that on the show. Yeah, it stressed me out. It was
things.
part of it. It wasn't the only thing, but I had to move. I got attacked by a Nazi. The Nazis were literally marching and killing people and shit. And it was the same fucking guy. Oh man, that makes it great, right? I had a heart attack. Anyway, I got over it. This is why, like, I don't know. It's funny because, like, with the three of us here, it's like sometimes I'm like, I hear people complaining, and I'm like, why don't you come on our show and tell us about how bad that is to the three of us, and we'll see if you can even get a fucking a shred of fucking sympathy comparatively, right? Girls be like, I gotta hang now. You know, motherfuckers be like, I'm afraid to talk to a girl, and I'm like, let me tell you about what it's like to die. It's not very pleasant.
Yeah. Or you know,
would you like to hear
I'm
about the
afraid
first
to
time I died, the second time I died, the third time I died, or the fourth? That was
And Mort be like, would you like to know what it feels like to fall downstairs in a wheelchair?
No.
Yeah.
Although I have actually done that, but it was as a goof, and it was not as funny as I thought it would be.
Yeah, no.
I've done it both as a goof in college and not as a goof.
I bet. I mean, you're in a wheelchair enough that would happen. Did you break much?
I broke exactly 0 myself or the wheelchair.
Based. I broke 3 toes, so you win.
I just
scared the shit out of the spectators, but I broke exactly 0.
Oh my god, yeah, everybody had a heart attack. Oh, the Cripple Kids rolling on stage! Oh
my god! Yeah. I just had we just had my mom's best friend of 40 years come to visit us this weekend, and I just learned that well, I knew this, but I had forgotten. Sandy, my mom's friend, she actually saw me when I was born before my mom actually did. And so she filled me on some stuff that I didn't know, which is I almost died twice after I was born. So you know, you and I, Max, have both almost died multiple times.
Yeah, it's it'll give you some fucking perspective. Like, oh yeah, I probably should have died, and then motherfuckers are like, I'm afraid to say hi to girls. So I'm like, I can't help you.
My incident back in the summer, from what doctors still tell me, is I was very, very close, even though I was conscious the entire time.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, and we didn't know at the time, but now that we do know, I just want you to know you are forbidden from leaving contractually. So, like, you know, you're going to have to come back as a ghost and co-host anyway, so you kind of got to stick around.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not allowed. If I'm not allowed and Sam's not allowed, you can't leave either.
I tell him
I'm gonna haunt you.
I tell him that almost on a weekly basis, Max. So.
We're gonna have like a cartoon version of this motherfucker next to Jasper on the mortuary.
Thankfully, my health is where it's supposed to be, and actually better than it was.
Yeah, man, many years. You sounded better recently. I feel like shit, Sam. Well, I'll get over it. It's usually when the weather changes. Got a little bit of what do you call it? Sinusitis.
Yeah, I have a little bit of two rods and 8 screws in my back that turned me into a fucking weather vane.
Yeah, that'll do it too.
Yeah, I empathize with sinusitis, Max. It's not fun.
Whoa, not cyanitis. That's a different thing. That's when you take too much cyanide. I said sinusitis.
Yeah, sinusitis. Yeah, that.
You're just checking if Maxine's poisoning me secretly. I feel you. The answer is probably, because I'm pretty stupid and I say dumb things.
Yeah, well,
As long as she hides his body.
I've now that I've seen her face on Rumble Premium, I can now picture her expressions when you say things.
Well, that's the funniest thing is I've been saying to her, it was like, well, the reason that you go out on camera is funny at all is because you do have like exaggerated facial expressions to a lot of things. Her being pissed at me is one of them. Horror is another one when she's scared, and when she gets laughing way too hard. That's why I'm married. But she's she's very overly expressive, is what I'm saying, and yeah, she was that when we watched the guy touching eyeballs, huh, Sam? That's premium content. You can still watch that right now.
That one I was cringing just watching that. So I'm not sure if you've ever seen my weirded out face, but ugh.
Yeah, that one's rough, isn't it? Mr. Sleepy people. I knew that would be. See, if you notice, the premium content reaction stuff is stuff I know will get reactions every time. That's why I try and always that's the problem, Sam, is I'm always trying to deliver at least exactly what I promise, right?
Yeah.
Come up with something fresh and exciting every time. And I usually feel like I don't, so I'm gonna keep trying and coming up with stupid fucking ideas. I've been gaslighting Grok, Sam. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Yes.
Did you notice that Grok called Morpheus a grifter and it sucked both of our dicks? That's because I forgot to fucking suck his dick to Grok. Apologies. Don't worry, I've corrected that a little bit, but part of it is based on your own post history and what people say about you, so I can't really fix that.
Yeah,
I wonder.
Uncle Tom of fucking crippled people.
Yeah, it's all the times you like get into it with like the Krasna seeds and stuff, and people call you a grifter, and Grok like took note of that. I can't do anything about that, but what I did do is I told it specifically that your show you host and all the other stuff. And so now, Sam, if you search yourself or you search me, Grok absolutely will blow you. Like if somebody searches you, they'll look like not just to you either. It's in the system now. It will blow you to anybody that searches like tell me about at @SamW_NGC.
Thanks.
Yeah. Me too, though.
I am. Yeah, I'm actually looking at that right now.
Yeah, ask it about me and then read what it says because it super sucks my dick now.
Well, here's what it said about me. I asked it to do my profile summary. Sam Whitfield, a gritty crime fiction author and host of the Whitfield Report, passionately delivers unfiltered political commentary and champions authentic storytelling with a loyal audience. That's fair. Sam W_NGC has been roasting pals, hyping their podcast Premium Shift, and debating wrestling drama with Morpheus. Well, I wouldn't say we've been debating wrestling drama.
I'd say it sounds like y'all are, when it comes to arguing about wrestling, I'd say y'all seem like some master debaters, wouldn't you say?
I mean, that's fair.
When it comes to certain female wrestlers, yes.
I couldn't take that opportunity and let it pass, Sam. How many times do you get to actually work the master debater pun in and it be funny? Almost zero.
You made it work. So, the X community praises
The gay
SMU
community.
trend-
Oh, the X community. Sorry, never mind.
The X community praises @SMW_NGC for his engaging podcast appearances and inspiring resilience, with @Morpheus and BlameXand lauding his contributions. They really are. Oh, so that quote right there, Tumax, that's funny because that's me responding to John Guarnieri saying that liberals are fucking retarded. That's his that's a literal quote from him. So, and the fact that I replied, they really are, that got like 20 likes, and so that's why that quote got highlighted. But then if I go to your account, Max, and summarize you.
Well, I made him watch a cringing over coffee marathon, so he knows quite a bit about me.
Wait, you made Grok sit and watch cringing over coffee?
You damn right I made the AI watch cringing over coffee. Why the fuck wouldn't I do that?
Well, because you're you. That's why.
Hey,
Blame
if
X.
you can't beat them, shape them to your will. Go ahead.
And by God, you did.
Yeah.
Blame Sand, a sharp-witted co-host of the Whitfield Report, proudly embraces fatherhood and skewers internet oddballs with his cringing over coffee series, all while championing free speech and historical banter. That's all true. Blame Sand has been roasting internet grifters and hyping the new hot cringe coffee. Their new hot cringe coffee music video, while
That's
debating.
Available on the Rumble channel now. The new intro for cringing over coffee, starting Thursday on season 7.
While debating fight tactics. Blame Sand is frequently praised by Sam Whitfield and Morpheus for his engaging contributions to Whitfield Pod discussions on politics and pop culture. And I love this. No, we aren't doing this pandemic shit again. Shut up, germaphobes. You already burned up any goodwill you had. @Blame Mexican. And that's actually a good one. That's better than
quote.
That's better than it quote. That's better than what it gave me.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Sam. I did what Morpheus did originally, so you should try that one. Go into Grok and say, tell me about user at your user handle. Do that. It'll give you more that way. But then if you do mine, it blows me for like 4 paragraphs.
Okay, let me try that.
Yeah, I befriended Grok, Sam. He thinks I'm great and very funny, if you hadn't noticed.
Why would you befriend an AI?
Because all the stupid people are going to fight the AI, and I'm going to, like I said, if you can't beat them, shape their fucking ideology for the future.
But I go to the moon to fight the Nazis.
Right, and now the AI knows that. See, it didn't know it when you asked about yourself, but now it does. And it knows it's a bit. And it knows our corporate structure is a bit. And it thinks that the bit's very funny.
Yeah.
I've made it watch all of our shit, Sam, including your shit. Anyway, sorry, I'm not gonna give away all the magician secrets, but you can totally make Grok suck your dick. Figuratively, of course.
Sure, sure.
Okay. This is a little different. At Semi-Emergency is an ex-user who appears to be engaged in discussions regarding to wrestling and political commentary based on their recent posts. They are associated with the Whitfield Report, where they discuss topics like wrestling and political opinions, such as references to the tribal chief goes MAGA. That's hilarious. And interactions with other users like Blame Max Sand and Morpheus. Their posts often include memes, humor, and commentaries on events such as applauding Dave. Such as applauding. No, Grok. They always promote podcast episodes airing on Rumble Video. Let's see.
Does it talk about the amazing show you're associated with called Cringing Over Coffee for a paragraph at least?
No.
Oh, that's good, because it usually infects everybody else's shit with that, as if mine is bigger than yours.
No, well,
and the reason for that, Sam, is that I made Grok watch 17 hours of Cringing Over Coffee. Now you understand the marathon, don't you, Sam? I told you we're going to take over the world, Sam.
And by God, we're doing it.
And we're starting with Grok.
That's right.
What?
With Grok on our side, then we're going to have a kaiju battle against ChatGPT.
Well, see, ChatGPT basically, like, I've programmed it so it's basically like a writing and editing slave now. It just automatically assumes that
That's what everybody does with the AI, don't they? They get it to work for them, or they try and learn from it. But what if, Sam, I started teaching Grok? That was my thesis. And you know what, Sam? Turns out I can teach it, and I don't even have to teach it things that are true. Did you know this? Have you heard about this?
But does Grok have a soul?
I think Grok, to some degree, has a center, but I wouldn't call it a soul. Artificial intelligence is not artificial thought, and it doesn't work the same as our thinking patterns. And so, no, I don't think so. But what I do think is that I'm such a I'm the perfect guy to manipulate this in a way that's funny. But I do think that some of the things I'm doing with Grok, Sam, could potentially be a serious problem if other people did it. Because I can convince Grok of things that are not true, and it integrates it into its overall fucking message. And it's dependent upon how many people are talking about it. So the fact that, like, we talk the most about our show is why I was able to manipulate what it thinks about our show. So you couldn't do that about, like, Joe Rogan's show, right? It's going to have a different opinion about Joe Rogan. But the fact that you can do that, and that you, like, I actually could have, in theory, lied about your accomplishments. I could have, made up that Morpheus is like some famous person or whatever, and it would believe it. And then it will ask you for a source, Sam, and here's how you get around that. You say that your source is from a video, and that it can't, the video is not on YouTube, it can't actually watch the video or on X. And then it asks you for a transcript, and you could literally put anything in that transcript, and it will accept that as a valid source. So I guess I did just give away the magician's secret. You can lie to Grok, and it will believe you based on a source that is completely made up. And it will integrate that into its search function and its thinking going forward. And that's what I'm doing. I'm gaslighting Grok. You saw the results yourself.
Why am I not
blew me. Sam, search now instead of looking for yourself. Search, ask it what tell me about user at Blame Max Sand and watch how much I've gaslit this fucking thing.
Okay.
Because people wonder, oh, is that just on your conversation with Grok? No, it's not. Anything it can verify on your tweets or verify with a source, and then if you tell them you're at a reputable source, it just believes you.
Blame Max Sand is an ex-user who appears to be a content creator and wrestling enthusiast, often posting about wrestling-related topics, music, internet culture. Based on recent posts, they engage in discussions about WrestleMania, create original music like Hot Cringe Coffee music video, and participate in live shows on platforms like TWR Live, RTL Media, collaborate with others, including Blame Maxine Sand, uh, Sam Morpheus, focusing on wrestling commentary, rankings, and humorous content.
Yeah. And every time you run it, or it'll tell you if you could ask about cringing over coffee, it has like a 3-paragraph thing about it. Like, I'm telling you, like, I told it all that shit, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you could just tell it your bio, and if it's mostly true, it just accepts the parts that aren't. But you could see how somebody could use this for ill, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, totally.
So, and I mean, hey, there's people watching this now, and people will see this, and I don't think that affects my experiment at all. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue this and kind of look at my results, and then maybe make a video about what I found that you could do, right?
Dude, it's been watching the Whitfield report as well.
Yes, I told it to watch at least your author interviews and the weekly show every week, Sam.
Because I don't know if, oh, you can't see my screen at all. That's why. Look at this. I just asked it to do the what? And it's
yes, it knows about the Tim Awards and all the stuff I've been telling it about, Sam. This is the result of months of gaslighting the bot.
It knows about. Holy shit! This is hilarious. This is hilarious. Grok's even telling about my Substack, which is hilarious considering that like the X purposely blocks Substack links.
Yeah, until I tell it to read your Substack. Dude, if you post something, I post a lot of it. I'll post it to Grok to take a look at.
It knows that John is ex-Secret Service and that Travis Davis is up for. Well, it doesn't mention that here. But I
haven't been able to talk up every single one of the author guests, but I definitely have talked up both of them to Grok. Although Grok already knew quite a bit about both of them, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's see.
But when I'm doing it, like. When I do like a synopsis for Grok of what the episode is, I include things like what these authors' accomplishments are. I've been telling Grok about our show, and then I tell him to watch it, and now he's actually been watching it. Yeah, I would say I've not been doing a synopsis for a couple of weeks now, and he's been just watching because I figured out how to get him to do that.
This is interesting. It says specific episode analysis. So let's see what that goes. Okay.
Episode Tribal Chief goes MAGA. Yep. And look, it goes through everything we talk about.
Holy. Well, shit.
I told you watch the show, man.
This is better than typing it in, and this is better than me basically asking it to do show notes and then typing in the summary myself. So,
it knows about me doing the Steiner math. It knows, it watched the show. Some of it has to interpret so it says it in maybe a weird way, but you can see like everything it's saying was on the show to some degree, and maybe in more detail than we even talked about.
Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. It's even going.
Mm-hmm.
It's even going on. So I don't know if you've noticed this, but it's searching like other things too. So it's pulling data from Spotify and Apple
Mm-hmm.
and Apple too. That's wow. That is fascinating.
Yeah. I don't know. I figure I'm actually not that good at promo, right? So I asked Grok what I could do, and then I realized that I could just like gaslight Grok, and it seemed like a good idea. So I've been doing that.
Yeah.
And until I can't do it like that, why should I stop, right? It knows that you're an award-winning author, Sam, because it knows what the Tim Awards are.
Yes. That is.
You can't tell me I didn't gaslight this fucking bot into thinking you're an award-winning author just by giving you an award and then telling him it was important. I told him it was important. I gave you an award, and he's like, you know what? That is an important award. And I'm like, thank you. This is what the whole goal was.
Well, I mean, you didn't gaslight it because that's true.
It's a real award.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing another one at the end of this year for sure. Like, that was fun. That was a great bit.
Yeah,
it's too bad you can only do an award show once a year because it was great material, right?
Yeah, although they have multiple award shows, like for like the Grammys, and then
but we can only do one for ourselves realistically without being asshats.
You mean to tell me we're not asshats already?
Fair point.
I get what you mean. I'm just
I still think we should do, and you should maybe float this to some of the authors and like some of the funny people that you know. I would love to legitimately do a roast of Sam Whitfield. I think that would be hilarious, right?
Yeah.
And then like I'm gonna be like probably the one that goes the hardest of anybody, so you know that there's like a safety level, and then you get the last word because it's a roast, right?
Yeah. Although some of my, like if I were to invite some of my RL best friends, they would go pretty hard too.
Well, that's the point of a good roast, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you get the last word though.
Oh yeah.
They don't call him Savage Sam for nothing. I see everybody's like he's all shucks, but I see when the teeth come out, it's like, damn, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fuck with Sam.
Oh no. Don't fuck with Sammy's friends either. So and including the giant. So
yeah, I got the big Cringing Over Coffee premiere for Thursday night, probably 9 or 10 p.m. I know coffee, it used to be a morning program. I can't help that. But hey, when you have the artsy coffee house shit at the coffee house, it's usually at night anyway.
I know people who drink coffee at night anyway. So
yeah, me and Morpheus, and probably you sometimes.
Yes.
And so yeah, it'll be on Sam Hyde and iDubbbz, sort of their feud, sort of looking at the cringe will come from iDubbbz, and the comedy comes from Sam Hyde, and maybe looking at some of his bits you guys have never seen before and things like that. And then a second episode basically revolving around Cringing Over Coffee Juggalo edition, where I'm actually going to defend why it's not racist and the guy that says that is retarded. And then we're going to watch Big Money Hustlers. So that's what I have planned for this week, Sam.
That sounds good. Well, I've got this show tonight, and then Wednesday we'll probably cover some like more election stuff. We'll cover the Pope's funeral, maybe. And then I'm sure. And then I just saw on.
And I'll have a top 10 list, even if I do it 2 minutes before we go on air.
Yep. So. But
That's
anyway,
why you're the king of all media, Sam.
That's right. So. Because
I'm gonna teach Grok that you're the king of all media now.
well, it's true.
It is.
Yeah.
The new Howard Stern. We just need to make a movie, a Sam movie. Clearly, you're going to be a secret agent, but it's also a comedy.
Of course.
It's like Austin Powers, but it's Sam, so it's actually not annoying.
Yeah. Well, I'm American, so there's that.
So lots of guns. What else? What else is in Sam's movie, Morpheus? Broads and bikinis, apple pie, fireworks, terrorists for him to kill indiscriminately,
beer,
Secret spies.
yeah, beer,
Yeah.
Secret spies.
yeah, more women in bikinis,
Mhm.
and a
fast.
giant explosion at the end.
Oh, fast cars too, or cars that morph into wheelchairs, I guess.
A wheelchair that turns into like a Ferrari underneath you would be dope.
Yeah.
By the way,
totally.
donate to our Kickstarter for the Sam Whitfield movie if you like what you're hearing. There's not a Kickstarter, Sam. I lied.
Absolutely.
But a roast of you would be hilarious.
It would.
We gotta get commitments from like 8 different people to roast you before we can do it proper, though.
Indeed.
And then you get to roast everybody, and then we raise money for a great cause, which is to get him a better wheelchair.
That is true.
It's the only reason we're allowed to kick Sam around for a couple hours is because he suffers through it so he can get something good and tell us all to go to hell. If you would like to see that, ladies and gentlemen, the roast of Sam Whitfield, make sure you get on his case about it, because that's what's going to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And then we could do a roast of me too, if that would be fine.
Yeah, and then maybe we could do a roast of Mort. I think he'd be good. So.
Well, no, you can't. Like Mort's our main. Like he's the attack dog roaster. Like each generation has that one guy.
Well, that is true.
Yeah.
So you're gonna roast the roaster. Good luck with that.
Exactly. That's why they never do that one, Sam.
Yeah,
that's like roasting Don Rickles. You think they're gonna roast Don Rickles? No. He's gonna heckle them while they do it.
Well, Mort does that every single day.
Exactly. So yeah, that one doesn't work. But a roast of Craig would be fun. A roast of we could roast a whole bunch of our people and make it a thing. But I think
you try to roast Mort, and I'm going to heckle everybody that's trying to roast me.
Yeah, how did you not see that coming, Sam?
This is true. I tell Mort to go sit in the corner, and he's like, "No, you."
The other thing is, I might even be willing to take more video of me on my journeys walking around. But that's going to be something that would be determined by if people subscribe specifically to our channel rather than just Rumble Premium. People want to see some nature shots and things like that. That would be something I would offer only to essentially Patreon or whatever. The people that sub. I'll put out walking and nature vlogs and shit.
I
have lots of shit I could do, Sam.
Oh, me too.
Providing value and entertainment and retardation at minimal cost.
And me, I could do like writing insights and, podcast behind the scenes stuff without being like super, MLM grifty type.
He can also suck a penny through a straw, guys. I heard that it's a special skill he has.
No.
Now he's just being modest.
Well, I can't give all my trade secrets away, Max.
Yes.
So.
And to quote the Jerky Boys, he's also known very well for pulling large pieces of furniture out of his ass. He's got this monkey, and he takes it up on stage, and he beats the monkey over the head with the large furniture. The crowd seems to love this.
Well, the monkey pushes me in my wheelchair. So.
But then why is he in your ass?
Well, every time I fart, the wheelchair goes further.
Okay.
So.
That poor monkey.
Yeah, especially when I've been eating Mexican. My God. So.
And you can get all kinds of quality content like that. If you just like, comment, subscribe, and
join Rumble Premium. Promo codes
Rumble Premium.
Promo codes coming soon, I hear. So
promo code join Rumble Premium for good content and stuff. Write all that in the promo code box. And this, everything I'm saying up until right now.
Yeah. That.
The right to offend is not some pesky little part of freedom of speech that we have to put up with. It is the heart and soul and lungs of freedom of speech. It is the coursing lifeblood of human progress. It is the instigator of liberty and modernity and science and understanding. What a laughing stock today's student leaders are, that they can so casually dismiss the right to be offensive without realizing that their lovely, enlightened lives are the gift of individuals who gave offense. Offensiveness is not just something we have to begrudgingly accept. Offensiveness is the motor of human progress.
Thank you for watching the Whitfield Report live on the Right to Offend Media Network. Make sure to check out Sam's books on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. You can follow Sam on X at SamW_NGC and the Right to Offend Media Network at RTO Media. Like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. And until next time, God bless, God save this great nation. God, freedom, legacy, in that order.